Hey guys, okay, so we're trying to put shit together. Oh god, that's really hot. One second. Let me lower this down to right around in here. Oh my god, that was so loud. Okay. So hi everyone. Welcome back to Evandale. It's been a little bit of time and we're here. Erin is here as well. But they'll be here in just a moment. And of course, we have the usual crew: Kevin and Eric and Mike and Erin, etc. And tonight is a game zero of the new Cyberpunk game, but it's also game zero for a lot of the aspects of the stream. Meaning, I'm still checking to see if shit works. So just bear with us for a little bit. I'm setting up alerts and a whole bunch of stuff. I just got out of work, so I apologize. Either way, hi guys. All right, now I definitely need to make sure that we have sound for you. Can somebody confirm that? Oh, that's where the alerts went. The alerts are behind someone. See, well, we do have audio. Oh wow, everyone. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm not going to. That was a nice little plug. I'm not going to question the tech gods. So this is a Cyberpunk campaign, and what we're doing tonight, like I said before, is a game zero. The entire purpose of this is we all chatted about this, and we decided that we are so very comfortable as a table together that there's not going to be much that we can't really handle if it's brand new. Having said that, Mike over there is going to be helping us learn the rules because he has played Powered by the Apocalypse, The Veil, which is what we're going to be doing. Zen, thank you so much. Oh my God. We got a gift of 10 subs. Thank you. Amanda, also, thank you so much for the resub. I appreciate that. Boom, zero. So there's, oh my God, people are just, Dr. Throw Punch is here. Hello. That's awesome. You hate Cyberpunk? I've decided that I will be evil in chat today. Okay, cool. That's fine. This dickhead follows us around everywhere. We don't know who this. I thought we did too. That's fantastic. You know what? I think I have a pimple. I should go look in a mirror and find out if that's so. Anyway, we're going to be creating characters tonight, and all throughout this campaign, we are also going to be developing the setting. So a portion of the city the entire city has already been developed map-wise. We're going to see a lot of Donald. Thank you for that. We're going to see a lot of the city. We're going to find out a little bit about the setting tonight. But what we're more interested, or rather what I'm more interested in, is finding out where they live, who they are, what they're doing in the city, and how and where we're going to. Well, I kind of know where we're going to get started next week, just as a starter. One of the big things, and this is to the players, is we did not have a pre-game meeting this time. We were here. I was setting up the stream. And typically we go over like how things are going to work. So as a game zero, we're really starting from scratch. So this is going to be a free form conversation. We have, wow, Zen, thank you so much for the gifted subs. That's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to be talking around the table in a rather free form manner in the moment that I shut up. And that's going to be it. So we're going to learn how to play together. We're going to learn about the setting together, and we're going to learn about each other's characters together. So the first question I have for you guys, and then I'm not gonna hold any kind of like a moderated conversation or anything. First question I have for you guys is, what does Cyberpunk mean to you? Why are we doing this? Who are you playing, and what do you hope to get out of it? And then I guess we'll get into character creation. It works. Yeah, that's huge. Erin, what are you doing? The 1,000th cheer. Guys, take it. We're sitting around a game table. I want to hear what your characters are and what you love about it.
Hear me?
They can't. No, nobody
No,
can hear
that-
us. Only
They
Steve.
can't hear. We
Really?
can hear one another, but apparently they can't hear us.
There
They
we
only
go.
hear
Now
Steve.
we should have just fixed that.
Hello.
There we
Testing.
are. Okay,
Yep, you're
yeah.
good.
All right, now we're good. Okay.
Say
It's-
that whole thing again, Mike.
Well, hold on.
Let's
Hold on.
That.
Oh, all right. Yeah, go ahead, and then we'll hit up Kevin.
Yeah, Cyberpunk is like one of the things I always loved about it is that it is not a genre that has like characters that are all good doing their best and like having the best. You know, fantasy, like high fantasy and epic fantasy is full of these like great heroes that are noble and wealthy and adventurous and strong. And in Cyberpunk, if you are like wealthy or anything approaching comfortable, you're guaranteed doing some fuck shit on the back end and are in no way a hero. And if you have the sort of disposition towards heroism, there's no way you have the kind of currency that it takes to fund that lifestyle. Everybody is doing their best to get by, and it really explores like what we're willing to give up to remain who we are. And it's a very human genre that way.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody here like playing a non-human? No,
Everybody's human.
everyone's human. Wow, that's all right. That's a change. That's totally a change. Wow, Zen, thank you so much for that, man. Appreciate it. Kevin, you were saying before.
Oh, and I got completely blanked out.
Oh, yeah.
So Cyberpunk for me is a settings exploration of a world completely like reliant on whatever humanoid perspective led to technology. So the cyberpunk world is almost dead or apocalyptic, end of days without the technology that they rely on. And how we interact, how we like pull stories from that type of setting relies solely on the social political things that are underneath that veil. More often than not, it's usually like corpo like led or, you know, AI overlord, something along those lines. But overall, those are the primary like beats that I enjoy from Cyberpunk, and that is exploring how a humanoid perspective can interact with a world that is completely reliant on its survival through technology.
It's when you went to create a character, what aspect of that, if not all of it, did you take into account?
I decided, actually, for the first time in the setting, to try and go a completely non-reliant on cyber upgrades for my character, whose name is Kyoto Vardosyn. I'll put that spelling up for everybody can understand and see what that looks like. But the idea was I would like to see how everyone who is familiar with all the technology that is everywhere throughout this world, which is needed in order to function, I wanted to experience, hey, I don't have that luxury, so it's a challenge for me, but I'm up for the challenge. That's kind of what birthed the idea for this character.
That's so fucking cool. All right.
And I like. Sorry, I was to add on to what you're saying about being completely reliant on in a world in a future where you're completely reliant on like cyber technology. It's still such a human, real, like topical. There's so many themes that you literally just have to look within yourself or out your front door, and you can relate to the story.
That's
100% agree.
so.
Yeah.
So it's an intimate experience.
I was
Mhm.
about to say, I agree totally. It's, to me, Cyberpunk is the grungy, no holds bar reality of life that we all live in. It's that really in your face, like, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to give up? What freedoms, liberties, bodily autonomy are you willing to get up for protection,
Mm.
for privacy, for self betterment, like all these augments that you can give yourself that enhances you, literally destroys you at the very core. But it just shows the desperation of people and of humankind and what they're willing to do to survive. And it also exposes people for the either true good or true evil that they really are. So it's kind of like money is not the root of all evil. Like money exposes good or evil. So if you give that to somebody who's evil, they're just going to do worse shit. If you give it to somebody who's just inherently good, they're going to do good things. So it's not the money, it's not the cybernetics. With the money and the cybernetics and things of that nature are what's exposing the fraud and bullshit of it all. And it's just amazing how in this particular setting, it really leans in on big corporation is doing exactly that. Like people want to talk like in real world about, caring for certain things, and then people use certain devices that use real human labor to do things, but we're totally okay with using these things on a day-to-day, but claim that we care about human rights. So things like that, really get pushed to the forefront in the cyberpunk genre, because it really exposes it like in your face and very gritty, like, hey, this is the harsh reality of life. Do you want to live? Just drop 3 more bits and you'll be able to breathe just 3 more seconds.
That's insane. That's absolutely fucking insane. It's when Mike and I were talking about his character concept, one of the things that came out just in general, just a general topic, is how much does a corporation own the body of a person? And that is absolutely something that I know that we're going to visit, and it's going to be uncomfortable. The challenge for me is I've never DM story told anything in a cyberpunk setting. I think the closest that I came was Paranoia.
I love that game.
That's an awesome game, isn't it?
And
that's like totally tongue-in-cheek. It's like, good afternoon, citizen. And it's just, you're going around and you're going to die. And your lives are the clones that you've had made of you.
Hydrate, y'all.
What's up?
Oh, gotta hail hydrate.
Oh, do we have that right now? Okay.
Drink
we
something.
do.
I'm going to get my water bottle.
I got you.
I have a wireless headset though, so you can't bully me when I'm not here.
The trash panda in space speaks.
The trash panda in space speaks.
So you guys can't see it, but Manda is also here. I should toss Manda up. Yeah, this is just set up tonight. It's just a game zero. We're going to be creating characters. We're going to be talking about where the characters live and kind of get their viewpoints on it all. So that's all it is. It's just a game zero tonight. Next week, we begin game 1. So,
Can I add something to everything about the cyberpunk world?
We're sitting around a table. Yeah, just talk.
I would have asked anyways. I love that this game, I was like kind of skimming through the rules. This game in particular is so unique because it really relies on emotions as a theme, at least a theme, or at most for some characters like actually utilizing emotions. But it's very introspective, which is something that I did not feel was very explored in like Cyberpunk Red or the Sprawl or the other one. So it's really cool that it's not forcing you, but it's encouraging you to take a very introspective look in this really oppressive world, which is super duper cool.
So you're talking about the Veil for Powered by the Apocalypse, which is the game system that we chose.
Correct. There's like a whole mechanic revolving around feelings and emotions, which I think is really, really cool.
I did spiral a little bit when I was making my character, and I put a +2 in sad. I was like, do I have a +2 in sad?
So, what did the okay? So
Am I a +2 in sad?
in PbtA the Veil, what are the stats? So we know in D&D, strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and all that crap. First off, what is it in normal powered by the apocalypse, and what is it in the Veil?
So Powered by the Apocalypse is like the sort of like the bones of the system. Things like Apocalypse World, Dungeon World, Monster of the Week, they all use Powered by the Apocalypse as their baseline. And what that means in general terms is you do your checks by rolling 2d6 and then adding your relevant modifiers. And normally you would have an array of stats. So Monster of the Week coming to mind, you have cool, charm, tough,
Weird,
sharp.
and sharp. And those are, they have pretty, D&D analogs. Your sharp is your intelligence, your charm is your charisma. Here in the Veil, they're your emotional states. So instead of saying every time I go to fight somebody, I do it with my tough or my body or whatever, you look at the emotion that is driving that action. If you're like, I'm pissed off at this guy, so I'm gonna, shoot him in the leg, you roll mad. If you're like, this is my solemn obligation, this is like irreparable harm to my body, this is a mournful act for me, you roll with sad. If you're scared, you roll scared. If you're like, I've got the upper hand on this dude, I'm kicking him into the dirt, you roll powerful. It very much relies on the sort of like emotional honesty and collaboration of all the players at the table. Because
that's a great
looking at my character, I have a +2 in sad, so I could be like, I'm searching this building because I'm dying.
So
emotional honesty, that is like such a great phrase, especially for like Cyberpunk.
Originally I was taking a look at the sprawl at first I took a look at Cyberpunk Red, and the first thing I did was take a look at the character sheet, and I was like, no.
It's a crunchy.
Yeah, it's totally crunchy. Then I read the reviews for Cyborg. We were going, or initially I had proposed Cyborg by the same folks that had put out Mookbook, and that's fun, but it didn't capture the vibe that I feel comfortable with. And I honestly, I gave these guys a kind of like a preview as to what it was, and I was kind of like, and I got the books and everything. I was like, all right, maybe I'll run. And then I read the review for the Sprawl, and I wasn't impressed for this particular thing, because it turns out that the Sprawl is more for like a Shadowrun type of thing, which is like fantasy sci-fi. And then Erin actually told me about the Veil, and I was like, ooh, let me check this thing out. So yeah, this is going to be different. You're calling upon emotions. So you mentioned sad, mad, powerful. What else is there?
So there's sad, mad, scared, peaceful, powerful, and joyful.
Scared, peaceful. Hold on, peaceful, joyful.
Joyful.
Mm-hmm. I don't ever expect that in Evandale.
They have this really cool like emotion wheel where like those 6 base emotions can then go out. So like I'm looking at it right now. So it's like, I'm like, how did you ever roll on sad? Well, one of the things for sad is, apathetic, sleepy, bored, guilty, stupid. I'm gonna roll that every damn day when I wake up.
Start every game.
Roll my stupid shit.
Yeah, I love a game that has a way for you to roll a dumb bitch check.
I was just a dumb bitch. Just roll me dumb bitch check.
Do you have a link for that you can toss out there?
In the
PdtA?
reference sheets that you
all right.
But it's the last page.
Okay.
Has that emotion wheel.
All right, cool. So I can I may end up tossing up some graphics here so you guys at home can see this. What do you, as far as the campaign goes, as a person who ultimately is just creating the setting, but you guys are kind of really developing this. Actually, Mike, can you talk about that for a second? How is the setting created by the players, and how does that differ from a traditional TTRPG?
So a lot of like a lot of systems that you would have present in a traditional TTRPG aren't there. The stuff that requires like DM governing, like initiative is not really a thing in Powered by the Apocalypse. It's just sort of what action makes sense next. Like who is closest to the action, that would get another punch in here. And taking some of that power away from, I think they call it the MC in the Veil, it really brings the players into this like collaborative storytelling as opposed to a game that somebody has written up. It's not like traditional tabletop gaming or like a LARP where it's like, I wrote this mod and then this is what's going to happen. I'm going to make sure all these things happen on time and the players will go through it. Like even like in the moves, like the mechanics that you interact with the game, they have a move called Link that's just available to the players. When you introduce a new NPC to the game by name, look, and outlook, decide how you know them. That could like we could literally be like in the middle of nowhere and Steve's like you guys are fucked if you don't find somebody. I'm like, actually my mom lives around the corner.
I fucking love that. I'm gonna work to. I want to get a picture of the map so that you guys can kind of get an idea as to where we are. I didn't know to what extent you'd be able to create the world, but I can tell you what I would like to happen. For 40 years, I've been telling people about the world of Evandale. So here's a little bit of tidbit about where you are. You're in a city called Killian City. The locals call it Kill City. In fact, the name of the campaign, I don't even want it to be Kill City. It's like splattered here and there. Even tonight, like on the Twitch title for this is just Cyberpunk Campaign Dev. There's no name for the campaign. I want the name of the campaign to be what you guys decide to call yourselves as a collective, because I want the focus to be on you guys. So I'm writing down a to-do. This is going to be applied more to me than anything else, but title, name of you bitches. Okay, cool.
You bitches.
Rover bitch.
Yo, we are dumb bitch check.
BBC in this bitch. Wake up.
Oh my god, that's gonna be the name of the campaign.
Dumb bitch check. Okay. Man, we're gonna lose so many people. All right. Wow. Okay.
We just gained 20
Weird.
subscribers. What are you talking about?
We gained 20 subscribers and immediately are blocked.
See, Rafa just subscribed. Keep going.
Rafa's like, no. Better late than not present.
I'm in.
You're in? Okay. Oh God, we're gonna fucking get strikes after strikes. So Killian City does not exist on the planet Evandale that we've come across. The Seventh Age is where we are. We are still in the Evandale universe. But the Seventh Age doesn't have like gods or any of that kind of stuff. So for those of you that are just joining, here's kind of what this looks like. The world of Evandale, the title of this channel on Twitch, the world of Evandale consists of 8 ages. The Seventh Age started off with the invention of the Ion X warp drive, which allowed for intergalactic travel within the time span of a human. That opened up doors for this major corporation, this mega corporation that was just getting started, called the Syndicate. The Syndicate then comes into power, is incredibly oppressive, and Cyberpunk is just a natural fit for those who are on ground in these giant ass cities or want to go out there into wastelands or what have you. There is a sci-fi component to it, which is up there in space. I have no idea where the hell this campaign is going to go, but as far as I'm concerned, this is more about them, and so I'm only designing around their actions. Killian City is huge. It's freaking massive. And next week you guys are gonna kind of get an idea of some stuff that are features of this particular city that makes it, in my opinion, all the worse. The Syndicate it's just an umbrella term as far as you guys are concerned. It is an untouchable entity somewhere out there that spans 3 freaking galaxies. It's immense. You're never going to be able to take it down. That's never going to be the goal. like in the usual Evandale campaigns. Oh my God, the Italti are rising. Oh my God, we have to kill a god and all that. None of that bullshit. None of that exists here. You guys are on a totally different planet. Oh yeah, none of that. The world of Evandale as we know it, say bye-bye. Your characters have never even heard of it, and it's not here.
Cool.
What's that?
I said cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because this is completely unfamiliar territory for me, which kind of goes into the next point. One of the main reasons why I'm looking forward to this campaign is to free my own restrictions that I put on myself. For 40 years, I've been telling myself this is how it has to be because I've been writing this way now for so long. None of that shit. I finally get to turn this over to someone else and allow the community to do that. Having said that, the chat is also going to play NPCs and other things like that. So you guys at home, you can start creating NPCs right alongside us. And when they come into a place, there could be people there on the side of the street that want to provide you with information. Or you can go to them and say, is there anyone here on the side? You can prompt that kind of stuff. And the audience, if they want, they can contribute. So I really want to turn this into more of a community event. There are 20, 30 corporations, and each and every single one of them is in competition with each other. Police, which are called the Urban Control Unit, are privatized, and corporations own them. And a good way to cancel you as a human is they will send out their UCU to you, and they will reclaim whatever. So you're going to see aspects of Fifth Element in here. You can see aspects of Repo in here. You can see a lot of original content and a whole bunch of other stuff. But what are some of the stuff that you guys really expect to see and hope to see and never want to see?
Oh, are we doing lines and veils kind of?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I could kick us off with carryover from our last campaign, because we did, for Untimely Heroes, we did a offline lines and veils. So it's cool that we're doing it in front of everybody. Do
you mind if I get another one before we get going? Because I want to hear this, obviously.
Oh, no, do it.
All right, hold up. Erin, can you tell us what lines and veils are?
Yes. So, so lines and veils are is a system of checking in before either campaign and or session to make sure that everybody at the table feels safe, included, and that they're having a good time. Because at the end of the day, you have to trust your table before you could trust the characters. It really alleviates a lot of the questions of, am I able to do this? Because if you're able to clear it beforehand with each other, then it's really easy to keep the role play going. So lines and veils are a little bit different in that, I hope I'm not mixing this one up, so correct me if I'm wrong. Veils it can be you're literally behind a veil, and the things that are happening that you don't want to see are happening still in the world, but not to you, right? And then lines is completely not at all. So it's a little bit different in that, I think last game, as an example, we had child violence was a veil.
Yep.
It wasn't a line. We could still discuss like the oppressive nature of Evandale and that kids would get hurt or die. But we didn't want to have to deal with them. Ghost kids all day long, but
ghost kids are preferred over
all day.
But that was I'll kick that off and say that's what I would like to carry over from the last campaign is like let's keep the kids at least happy on screen.
How do you feel about so understanding the nature of this and the poverty that often comes with it? So one of the hallmarks of cyberpunk genre is, of course, the massive wealth disparity. There's a section of the city, and as soon as I get it, I'll show you guys. There's a section of the city that is just the wealthy. You have to go through like weaponized checkpoints and an entirely different district, which is completely walled off from the rest of the city just to get to them. And so even seeing that from the distance might be considered a little bit of a privilege according to them. most everyone else is nothing more than fucking chattel for a corporation. You are here to do a job, period, end of story. Children are going to be starving. Families are going to be starving. An element, a daily element, something I was contemplating of introducing, so I'm kind of curious if you guys want to do this, is a concept of daily maintenance. The constant reminder, I need food, I need water, I need, or some other kind of refreshment, or my augmentations are going to handle some of that for me in some fashion. I don't want that to become the overarching need to role play. Like we don't need to role play that for even 5 minutes. It should just be a, it's guys, we have to get food. Oh shit, I'm hungry. So feel free to throw yourselves under the bus on that and say, yeah, dude, I'm starving, and we have to go find food, and we will create an adventure just around that. Is that kind of an environment okay for you as you walk through the city trying to find your own food, that you will also see children are like starving and other stuff like that? How does that sit with you guys?
100% okay with that.
Erin?
Yeah,
Honestly, I'm like 100% on board, and I think it's actually kind of cool because, like, in like quote unquote traditional cyberpunk settings, like that's why like attire is considered so high key, because like having the certain kind of cybernetics from certain things that are from like a Ripper doc, or like from like so like having like a secondhand cybernetics is like a common thing, so seeing somebody with chromed out, like something super flashy, it's supposed to be a sign of wealth. And like somebody who has like these nice neon like lit clothing, that's a super sign of wealth. So it's like so cool to show that the brevity in that, especially showing like the common class person that like I feel like I feel the vibe with everybody, and we're like, oh cool, so we're all living there, cool. Like I'm totally on
So
board.
clothing is bling. Clothing is like how you dress up, and the neon, really? Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
Like so exactly. So like if you're like, if I'm walking around and I have like this like jacket and it has like neon wire on it, like that's a huge, not just a fashion statement, but like your fashion is like literally a sign of wealth.
The fact that you can, take.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can take like a maroon suit and have the lapel lining give off like a purple glow if you choose, or a white one depending on it.
Literally flexing on them, and it's like it's considered cool, and that's like what people aspire to. But that's why like people that get cybernetics are usually grimy and grungy and going to back alleys to get things done, because they're aspiring to be like some of the higher end people that they see that have like the chromed out nice things. You know what I mean? And it leads to infections and death and stuff like that. After the thing that they can't afford, so they're getting the, they're going to Brazil to get the butt done. You know what I'm trying to say? The back injections.
And you have to like think about it this way. When did cyberpunk in real life? Cyberpunk became popular in the 80s. The 80s was when people were worried about their individual aesthetic, their wealth, a societal like prestige, and to be able to go into the sort of fantasy world where you could be kind of grimy and badass and still like, which is more relative to the common person in the 80s who was like, the working class, and be able to aspire to achieve that like colorful, like neon, beyond yuppie, like still cool kind of thing.
I'm pretty certain I still have my members only jacket and parachute pants.
Are you gonna wear them for the game? Yes.
No, those things are in those things are in a city dump somewhere. Although I was like thinking about going up at like Amazon and getting like check this dude out, man. Kevin's already got some shit on his face. I was ready. Yeah, bro, man. I'm like I kind of want to do something like that. All right, back to
in the bedroom.
Wait, what?
In the blue jewelry box in the bedroom or Bronson's room, there's my my shades that you can wear.
Oh, I have to find. It's all dark in there. There's no light. Okay.
I know. Maybe we'll do it on a break. It's literally you can wear them.
All right. So, fuck her. A pit viper sunglasses, says Amanda.
Yep. They are pit vipers.
All right. So back to Lines and Veil. So children starving, dying in the streets as part of the oppressive nature of the city is okay. Targeted attacks against children, I'm reading into it, is verboten.
No, thank you. That was a really personal thing for me. It bothers me a lot.
I appreciate that. Thanks for that truth, man.
Yeah, same.
What else do we have?
I think there's a feeling of being very real and close to home. So I think a lot of things could hit kind of hard if they're not brought up safely. I would say any sort of themes on human trafficking would be more of a veil. I don't necessarily want to deal with sexual harassment as a player with NPCs at my in my game.
Yeah.
But it can be discussed as an oppressive theme in the world.
I don't feel comfortable even role playing that. That's something that I don't like doing, is having an NPC who all right. So there's a difference between an NPC, in my head anyway. I'm not saying that I speak for you guys. An NPC that comes over to you and is like, "Hey baby, how you doing? You're fucking looking good. Hey, come here, sweet cheeks." And you can there's a character behind that. And it's easy to go, "Dude, I'm gonna punch you in the dick if you don't move the fuck on." And then he goes away. So, but to me, that kind of oppression should be there, but not to the point that a delineation, or rather that a line is drawn separating who people are by the way that they were born or choose to appear. So I'm not comfortable with that kind of a thing. Like, I'm not going to say that women are oppressed and men are not. That doesn't fucking exist in this world. So having said that, sexual stuff it just doesn't come into the games, to my knowledge anyway. In any of the Evandale games that you have seen or been in, have you seen anything like that? And if so, teach me so I can learn better and not do that again.
I mean, I've only had the one experience with you from, the last game, and that was actually one of my personal veils, what we just discussed, you know what I mean? So I did not ever see you even come remotely close to resembling something that might look like encroaching on it.
Yeah,
So,
the same.
Solid, dude. You're totally
Same on me as well. When we were going with Renault and his backstabbing love interest, like even the scene where that was developing, it was super tasteful. You killed it, knocked it out of the park. I have no complaints about that at all.
Okay, so you guys are okay with how that aspect of okay, cool. All right.
I think as long as the characters can fight back, then that's, as long as they have the power to fight back. That's, I think, I never had an experience with that with you at your table. You are really good at writing slimy characters in a way that I could still enjoy. The only time I ever felt remotely weird was when Tasia had Nesserus controlling
in her head,
in her head, and I was just because I also couldn't fight back. So, and I get that that's like a spell, and that's okay. And it wasn't I didn't feel bad enough to be like, I want to stop. But it definitely, if it could be that there's more opportunities to fight back, that would be really cool.
So I have two things then I want to bring up. One, you mentioned human trafficking earlier. The city as designed, not necessarily what we encounter, but the city as designed, there are certain corporations that engage on that on the down low. And they may do that for a variety of reasons. And some of that has to do with the augmentations that they have and that they're about to be harvested. These are pigs being led to the slaughter, pardon the term. That kind of a thing I was thinking about incorporating as yet another background element. And a reason why you should absolutely hate those people who do that. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay. It's a veil for me, not a line.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Same.
So as long as it is again treated as part of the oppressive nature of the setting, as opposed to a direct experience. Okay, cool.
I don't want to be trafficked. That's the whole thing.
No, I don't see that kind of. I can kind of see where there's a threat. Oh, okay. Like one of the things that, here's the next one: cyber possession. So one of the things I was thinking about is there has to be what's up?
I say faulty pieces that then you lose control of your own autonomy.
I didn't even think of that.
Oh, okay.
Cyber psychosis.
my whole
Cyber
character.
psychosis,
I was thinking
yeah.
that's cyberpsychosis.
Yep.
Cyberpsychosis, if you in traditional like Cyberpunk Red and Cyberpunk 2077 is when if you're too chromed out, you literally are losing pieces of your humanity to the point that you literally lose control. And in the TTRPG, the game master totally runs your character at a certain point. If you lose it, it's like nope, you lost your whole autonomy. Like you get put down.
I've seen those kinds of things in other games, and I know that's an option in systems that we've used. I don't even like doing that. You guys, this table, man, I'm.
If I could just say something,
yeah, man.
It is something in, like it's even in this game. It's in a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse stuff. One of your advanced improvements, like the leveling up system in the game, is to create and play a new protagonist, and oftentimes that comes with the sort of like handing over of that character to the DM, of being like, hey, I've fully explored this character arc, this is a fully formed character. I'm gonna, like, they're not dead, they still exist in the world, they could even still be actively engaged in stuff, but they're no longer like cohesive within the party, or I'm just not having fun playing them. So I go, cool. Here you go, Steve, here's my guy, I'll be a new guy.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. I totally like that. Yeah. I was going to say that I'm completely comfortable. I know what you guys are capable of, and you can totally put your current character aside and adopt the exact same character, but with a totally different mentality. What I was talking about with the cyber possession leans into that. It's the corporation that you purchased your augmentations from. They want to reclaim it. And they're going to walk your shit with your prosthetic legs over to their headquarters. Like that kind of a thing. You don't have any control over your limbs. Now, can you escape that? Yeah, you can hack it off. Like literally, physically take that limb off. You can also hack into the system. So if we address that kind of a thing with the notion that there is a way to get out of it, even if it is just a take this fucking thing off, and meanwhile it's still like trying to get at you, is that okay?
I'm personally,
yeah, no, 100%.
Okay, all right, cool.
Granted, I'm not playing that right now, but
yeah.
Says the guy who picked the playbook that has no cybernetics.
I'm great with it. Go for it.
I was just gonna ask, is anybody here like playing a purist or anything?
Yep, that would be me. I'm playing an own.
No shit.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Dude, all right. So I was trying to, like, in some of the development streams that I had, like, over the past couple of weeks here, people were like, well, and then there's purists. And I was kind of like, the city is so violent. How are you going to survive without any kind of an augmentation?
I mean, there's like some folk that'll be like, let's like somebody like me, like my persona, my character is going to be into the architect. So he's pretty much like the net runner, the guy who's just obsessed with the cybernetics and enhancements. Somebody might be like, like Adam's case might be like, I don't want to get like a cybernetic eyes that might allow me to look into the HUD like that, but that doesn't mean that I won't buy a pair of glasses that can do the same thing. They're not as good or effective.
Yeah, that's
but
cool.
I'm gonna get these cheap ass glasses that might do something fairly similar. It's not gonna be as effective. I felt your vibe.
You got those wish eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, you got the wish.coms.
So we don't need the neural link that Elon Musk has. Instead, we can just use our damn phone. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So they'll still they understand that they still live in a society where technology is necessary, but they're just refusing to put it into their bodies because they're purists in the sense of like they're thinking how we think is super enhanced technology. Like, oh well, I got a phone that can talk to space, and I'm like, I want the fucking neural link to be drilled into my cerebral cortex, like that. Yeah.
It's the difference between like, oh, I only use like a Hotmail account and a flip phone
Outlook,
or compared to like, I don't understand how to they exist within the world of the technology, but they're granting themselves more freedom, but at the cost of efficiency.
That's
my Neuralink lets me, when I'm interacting with the computer, I do it at the speed of thought. Like, if you don't have that, you're still typing on a keyboard, but the government can't read your mind.
I just want to let you know, Clan Blackpaw is like, I feel targeted. I have a Hotmail account.
I feel it.
You should feel tougher.
Let it burn.
All right, and so
you carry that.
all right. Before we move on or anything like that, I still want to I want to get closure on the Lines and Veils discussion. Is there anything else that people want to talk about?
The only thing that I would add, and it's not even like a hard line or veil, I'm fine with like discussion or portrayal of it, as long as it's kind of not treated as like a punchline or with like lightness is suicide.
Yeah.
That's something, I struggled with throughout my life. I don't like to see it in media as like, oh, he offed himself. Like if it's brought up, it should, I'm totally fine with it being brought up, but it needs to carry the weight that it should.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be an offhanded thing of like, oh, I get this character out of the story, they jump out the window and die.
Yeah, no.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Mhm.
What does how do you feel about cyberpsychosis in relation to losing your identity and kind of like affecting or removing your faculties as a human and suicide?
I fully I'm totally fine with it in the story, and that is one of the things. Like Cyberpunk is such a desperate clawing genre. You are always a hair's breadth away from like just a complete collapse. There are entirely unrecoverable situations. It is to put yourself in that world would be so emotionally and mentally taxing that like it's very reasonable for a character to see that as their only way out, especially with cyberpsychosis.
Yeah.
That is 100% on brand for the genre. I'm cool with it being portrayed.
Okay.
I like it doesn't happen as much in modern media when we have a sort of more like forward thinking approach to mental health, where we're like, oh, maybe all the depressed people watching this don't want to hear that, but you see it a lot in like old stuff from like the early 2000s and the 2010s.
Interesting.
Cool. Matthew in chat brought up police brutality. That is a thing. It's police are the henchmen. They're not. They have the title of a law enforcer or something along those lines. But even then, the city itself does not have the. It just doesn't have the law and order that we may be accustomed to today, or at least the concepts of it. So police brutality in this case, we are looking at. You stole something from this corporation, and what they are going to do is above and beyond anything even sensible. They are going to eliminate you. How does that premise sit with you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Mr. Adams, I'm seeing big thoughts.
So I'm actually surprisingly normally the question was directed specifically at us, but when we go over that topic, I'm more concerned about our viewers, really, because I know that it's big in media now, some recent events in regards to that and how it seems to not be getting better. I know I'm personally capable of dealing with it because of my history as well on both sides of this veil, but I would say that's probably a veil also at your discretion, Steve. Less so for my sake, more so for the sake of the people who watch the stream. If I can at all speak on their behalf, considering they're right here in the chat.
Yeah, dude.
But
you're right. So Storm also put something out there. Hey, dude, thank you so much for the follow.
Yay, thank you.
Really appreciate that. Oh, you know them?
That's Ducky. Hi, Ducky.
Hey, Ducky.
a great name.
So Storm brings up something that says they are corporate security. They are not police. So when it comes down to an authoritative,
yep. You got it. Got it in one.
I'm gonna have some more of this.
I didn't realize I was alcoholic, by the way. I thought that was just regular old cider.
No, when they asked me for ID. When we purchased it, I had to hand over my ID.
On them.
Yeah,
So-
I know. Yeah, I know. Good on me. Apparently, my nighttime face lotion is now working.
Mhm.
So, and fuck you. If anyone out there says, sorry, Steve, no, that's just not. So,
No one's saying that.
anyway, so the concept of authority is going to weigh heavily. It is a theme in this game. Corporations claim authority. But one of the things that I'm seeing here is that as the recurring theme throughout Cyberpunk, and particularly this game, is that just because someone claims it doesn't mean that they own you. And it is a constant fight. And that is part of the hope. Everything that just as a personal thing, and let me know if this is proper for the genre, but I'll also kind of couch it with, I don't give a fuck. If it isn't, Evandale has always been about a little bit of hope. You can be like a level 1 5e character and come across a level 20 badass who just wants to end your life. As long as that there is a way to get out, whether it is through roleplay or something along those lines, as long as there's a way to escape, you're good. To me, Evandale has that, or at least it should have that if I've been successful in storytelling. Should Cyberpunk also have that, and to what degree?
Yes.
I think that's the underlining theme of it, is showing that through all the oppression, through all the struggle, there is that gleaming beacon of hope in humanity, for whatever that word means to them, you know, in that time frame, that there is light on the other side and there is a level of self-betterment. And that's why there's such a struggle as to what they're willing to risk and how they're willing to protect it.
Okay.
And that is, like, just to add on to that, that is kind of your thing too, Steve, as a storyteller. Evandale, as we talked about before in one of your world building streams, and in our after parties, has a beacon of hope no matter what. And it should carry over into Kill City, even if it is a different planet, because it is our story, but it's also your story too. And if that is your thing, like to instill hope and inspiration in people through the magic and power of storytelling, much like Doctor Who, then no matter where you go in space and time, there is always a way out, either through the TARDIS or through the power of, like, literally, it's cliche, but the power of love and friendship and words. Then that should be something that you cling to. So Kill City, if it is in your world, it should have some foundation of hope to it.
Yeah, it is a core aspect of Cyberpunk that beneath however many layers of, you know, shiny chrome and however many miles of wire you have in your body, the most important resource available to you is that just indefatigable human spirit, that grit, that drive to keep moving forward. Because as long as you can keep going forward, as long as your legs are still pumping, like, you're not done. You can still take what you're owed from the world.
Kevin.
So everybody is talking about the hope that is required for this. And I think I'm the only one who I still feel that part of the genre is the realization that hope exists from the character's perspective, from each of the characters' perspective. However, if we are an omniscient being watching everything happening, we ultimately feel bad for everyone that's trying to survive in this setting. Like every bit of media that I've seen cyberpunk adjacent, when you really look at it, you have to look at the hero who's fought the good fight, and they beat the mega tech corporation from their position because they got rid of the cyberware that they stole from them, and they blew it up in their face in their headquarters, like, I did it. And then we, the viewers, like, see something where the very next day there's a cleanup crew. They took the equipment, they wiped it away. Their hackers went and data wiped their entire history of the person who did it, and it's just another write-off. It's just another write-off for the mega corporation. However, everybody who interacted with that character, hope, we got it. It's good. but from the top down, it's always just a terrible, miserable thing, and that always sent chills down my spine for this setting, and almost a dark future inevitability. I enjoy that. I get it if nobody else here is
No, I love
all
Oh
that.
no,
for it.
it's
But that is, I
constant-
love that.
It's a constant battle to become the fattest rat on the trash heap, ignoring the fact that it's all moving towards an incinerator.
Yep.
Oh my
one of
God, Mike.
it really is.
Cyberpunk.
It really is. Yeah.
You're going to be a bard this time, right?
Getting it.
One of the questions in chat is, what system are we playing? We are going to be playing Powered by the Apocalypse. If you're not familiar with it, it's an incredibly light system that turns a lot of the control of the game over to the players. You only use 2d6. That's it. And this particular...
You don't even say like the actions you want to do. Like you don't say, I want to roll this, I want to roll this kind of check. You just say, I'm going to like go here, jump out this window, do this, and then you'll go, oh, that sounds like it should be this. Oh, my dog's barking. 1 second.
Yeah, we don't. There's no. We also play on another channel that we have, Ankak Crit. We play Monster of the Week, and Mike, the guy who just left, coming back soon, hopefully. He does a fantastic job of simply going with the flow, and that's what this table is about. When we started off together as this team, we came in with a Dungeons and Dragons 5e, and it's a great system. And so with Pathfinder Second Ed, if you are looking for light enough rules to allow for more role play and interaction to determine the outcome, as opposed to just hardcore dice rolls. This system takes it one step further, and I fucking love these guys. So, like, no, take this game, run it. I want to do this. Can I come in as the NPC now? That's all I want. That's all I want. So, yeah, Powered by the Apocalypse. There's a variation of it that we are using called the Veil, Veil, and it's
I posted a link in there.
Oh, you're awesome. All right, cool. Thank you. Playbooks. You don't have classes. Instead, you have playbooks. What's the other? I mean, there's so many differences, but I don't want to get into all the differences. But
I think the main thing is it's less math and more collaborative storytelling. And I love that the DM does not roll dice. That is my favorite part.
Yeah.
Even though I do like rolling dice, if I were to be a DM, I'd be kind of sad about that. But I think it relies heavily on you interacting with us outside of your omniscient role of God. And
that's what I'm happy about. I don't get to be God. I fucking love that.
And in this collaborative storytelling, as far as Powered by the Apocalypse is concerned, I know it's very heavy in Monsters of the Week, and I'm pretty sure that it'd be very relevant here. What's really cool about this particular gameplay style is typically when something happens and you're rolling it and something good happens, the game master is usually the individual who describes it, but when it's something bad, it's usually left up to you, the player, whatever the bad thing is happening to now convey what that bad thing has happened. So, So in the system, it's really cool. So it's your DM gets to be the good guy this time. You get to uplift the players, and now when some shit happens, all right, you flying out the fucking window there, Erin.
Pick your switch. Which one do you want to work with?
Yeah, there's no such thing as the BBEG just rolled a nat 20. It just doesn't fucking exist.
Every time you eat shit, it's because you personally, as the player, ate shit. You rolled a dumb bitch check when you should roll a smart one.
So it's super cool because it actually puts the control into the player's hands a lot. Where it's okay, so describe what that looks like, which is something that we were doing in Evandale anyway. So it's pretty cool that actually ingrained within this system itself. It's very especially if you look at the player how to call them, the playbooks for the Veil, it's very much tell the DM how that looks, and then you guys will collaborate how that looks in the moment. It's that's what we do all the fucking time.
Eric, I can't even tell you. It's when so Mike, when you started, what is it called? The Monster of the Week, the judge, the DM, the
I think they call it the Keeper.
Storyteller
and Monster of the Week.
Keeper,
yeah, the Keeper. Okay, so when you're the Keeper, one of the things I really liked is being able to narrate everything. And that's why I was like, ultimately, I didn't want to go with the crunchy system. I wanted to move to something that is going to allow us to be us.
Yeah.
So
I absolutely love crunchy systems. Like,
yeah,
Eric, you've played Stags, the system that I wrote. Like, I am a certified dice eater. I love crunchy systems, but Powered by the Apocalypse is like one of my favorite systems to play in, just because it leads to so many like good moments. Because in D&D, there's a lot of times that you'll go like, oh, this would be so cool if I could do this. Then you look through your like 8 pages of abilities and spells, and you go, oh, that's a bonus action, so that won't work.
That's not the way this spell is done. No.
Yeah. Whereas in Powered by the Apocalypse, you go, I want to jump this motorcycle off the back of that truck into a helicopter, and I can just go, all right, cool, roll 2d6.
Yeah, you can totally fucking do anything at all, and it's one of the reasons why I love this. Kevin, in the last game, you played Renault, who was really bound by not only the strictures of rules, but the strictures of the setting. Now, this time around, you're playing a character that doesn't have the augmentations or anything like that. Another form of strictures, or of restriction. How are you... you know what? Hold up. Before we go... Puppers! There's the puppers on screen. All action must stop.
Sometimes I'll tell him to hop up on the bed behind me, and he'll interpret up as jump into my lap. Oh God!
Okay, and Doggo must go bye.
He's very excited. My girlfriend just got home.
Before, yay! Before I get into anything else, Lines and Veils. Anything else?
I have something.
Yeah,
it's
please,
not a line or a veil.
please.
It's a invite to a concept.
Yep.
Based on what Kevin said about being concerned for the enjoyment of the chat. I know that before we used to have this sort of attitude of the chat is here with us as like the community, but we are playing like we are friends at a table. So don't worry about what chat's doing. I think that with the invitation of them becoming NPCs and being very involved with the collaborative storytelling, it would be nice to invite them in, not now because we'll have to go through it all right now and we have other things obviously to get to, but to open the dialogue in Discord maybe, where if they have lines and veils, and we can make a thread about it and discuss that and talk about how we can incorporate that into the game. There's
only yes, I love that. There's only one thing. If we have a person who righteously and rightfully says, I don't like this, and they only come once or twice.
Correct. I think that's why I said an invitation for a dialogue.
Gotcha.
It's not we're going to cater to every single person if they show up one time or if they show up every week. But if there is a general theme of, we don't want to see police brutality or we don't want to see human trafficking, then obviously that's something we can work with in how we build our world. Because if they are going to be part of building it, then I think everybody should get a fair shake at.
That makes sense. Manda, you're here with us. So for those of you that don't know, there is a goddess that watches over everything that we do here, and that goddess's name is Amanda.
Trash Manda.
Trash Manda.
Trash Manda.
Trash Manda Panda.
Trash Manda Panda. I apologize.
In space.
In space. Trash Manda Panda in space. Okay. Trash Manda Panda in space. Trash Manda. Okay, cool. Manda,
Yes.
though we can't see you, we can hear you.
Yes.
What is something? Do you have lines and veils for this?
Me personally, my lines and veils were whenever my PCs, if they were having relations, it always transitioned to, we're going to go have some coffee.
Okay.
Cool.
All right,
that was
cool.
the code word, and it turned into a running joke at pretty much every single table I've ever played to. But, it was a very nice way to do the line and veil because, for example, if you have a character that's in relations with an NPC, that's kind of weird to RP at a table.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
wink,
I wouldn't
nod.
ever want to. We don't typically get into that, but that's actually kind of good. It's like
Coffee.
if you have two NPCs,
Coffee.
yeah, or even if one of you guys like meets somebody. Like-
Most of the situations that I had either running a game or being a player in, it was like a PC is having relations with an NPC and the NPC is being driven by the DM and you're just like, listen, I like you a lot as a friend, but we don't need to do this.
Well, there's also a very famous gamer who several years ago kind of got the axe from everyone because of that bullshit. So I'm gonna state this right now. I am not interested in any kind of an interaction other than something that caters to normal biology. I am not going to, as a human, villainize sex. I'm not going to villainize bodies. I'm not going to villainize anyone's augmentations, genders, or anything along those lines. So, and if it is biological, if it is romantic, these kinds of things to me should be celebrated, but they have to be touched upon with care. And the scene might be just, and you see two people over there who are thoroughly enjoying each other physically. What did you guys move on? And that's the entire scene. I don't think we need to get into the, we're not going to get into tentacle porn in this game.
Oh, darn it.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry.
Cthulhu, come on.
All righty.
It's been nice. It's been nice.
Come on, guys.
So-
We'll go start our
Way to
own
lights.
stream with all the tentacle porn we want.
So, Erin, you are heard. Open up dialogue on Discord. Amanda, would you be so kind, love? Can you drop a link for Discord?
Discordia.
Storm wants to know if furries are still a go. I don't furry shame. I don't kink shame. That's
No.
dude. So many of us are in the kink community. We're the last fucking people
Hello.
to say what's up. All right.
I think at least once a week I'm horny posting in the Discord.
I mean, it's true. It's true. We're a bunch of fucking horn dogs. Okay,
No, that's a lie. I just post pictures of frogs.
That's pretty horny of you, though.
that's true. The great horned frog.
Since we're sitting around a table talking, Steve created a frog farmer in Evandale on stream
What? When?
outside Mutvia like 2 years ago.
I remember that.
Oh,
Who was that?
So
Oh, voices.
Who was that?
Confirmation.
that's the
Well, I know who I'm playing if we ever have
that's
a campaign.
the pre-existing condition, but he's fine.
That's the opossum.
I don't fucking remember this, but okay.
Oh,
yes.
I'll find it. I'll find it. It was like a
Cool.
miserable. It was
Vaughn
a
moderator,
miserable
roll
town.
the videotape.
Yeah, it's like a miserable town on the outskirts of a creepy church,
I
and you
remember
had a
that.
frog farmer in a bog. Thank you, Erin.
Yep, I remember that. That
What
was like
what
right
game
when
was
I
that?
started.
What campaign was that?
You were working on maps for Evandale
Oh,
and like
Jesus.
old Mutvia, and it was a frog farmer right outside a really creepy church, and he was on the banks of the river.
See, it's a natural human
Mhm.
instinct to be drawing a map and go, and here's where a cool frog would live.
I mean, yeah.
I do that all the time.
It definitely
It's
draws
like,
it.
my brain's
Thank you for verifying for me, Erin.
No worries. Yeah, it was before. I think it was before season 1 of Crossroads. It was like when I was looking through old VODs when I was getting to know Steve or internet stalking him before. I was like, I like you.
Yeah, okay. I'm not getting into my personal stuff. Yes, frog farmers are a thing. Okay. Any other lines and bells?
I would like no frogs to be harmed.
oh, come on.
I'm sorry, but frog legs are on the menu.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Oh no.
In my noodles, because noodles.
Yes. Dude. So this is actually Eric. All right. First off, can I have a thumbs up from you if you are okay with ending the veils and lines discussion? Are we done with that? Okay. Good. All right. I just want a very clear closure on that topic. Make sure that everyone has been heard. All right. Cool. Thank you for that. I have a couple things for you. So the setting, corporate, ads are going to be everywhere. Do you have any problems whatsoever with an occasional being? It has to be a lighthearted scene. I don't want to be interrupted unless it's really fucking comedic gold to be interrupted in a hardcore emotional scene with. And next week on, I don't want to be into. What are your feelings with being interrupted by advertisements on occasion? Pop-ups, yeah. Are you okay with that?
You get it, Colgate, total control.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, that's awesome.
Okay, cool. How do you view so I am so accustomed to D20 systems, I have to ask this. The end game, what does that look like for you?
Like the last episode? Like how the story ends?
Yeah, I don't have an overarching thing of, you guys conquer the syndicate. I don't have that. So what would a end of a campaign in a cyberpunk genre look like?
I would like to jump in on this one.
Go ahead.
Perhaps something that I can't be really specific, but something that brings into perspective that the crew, whether or not we're all together or even the same characters, have successfully let everybody know who understands the story and who has been present for the story delivers a human experience in this world. It is a very corporate, technologically influenced world that it's all about who's in power. In order to tell a story and have the viewers, or even you, Steve, or all of us really be like, okay, that's a very human thing that I kind of didn't expect out of a world like this. If we can deliver that, that's in-game content. I can fucking log off, turn the camera off, and I'm good.
Dude, that's an awesome RP goal. I wasn't even thinking of anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Okay. All right. So that's something that you're advocating that we should strive towards.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking baller. I like that. All right.
I think my kind of concept of what an end game of a cyberpunk campaign looks like is that as a group or as individuals, you have found a way to break out of that cycle, that desperate struggle for survival.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that is through I am famous enough that for the rest of my life people will be gassing me up and paying for everything I need, or I have stockpiled enough money that I can fuck off into the wasteland and have enough supplies to last me until I peter out. You have found a way out of that corporate environment, whether that's through becoming the head of it or disappearing off it completely.
Oh, so it's completely going off grid.
In some because Cyberpunk, it is a story of this struggle. There is no Cyberpunk without struggle, and the ultimate goal for anybody who is turning towards going against the corporations is either that should be me up there or I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, cool. So you're advocating for I'm gonna go live in a cave in the middle of Logan's Run.
It could very much also be I have amassed enough wealth that I am untouchable within this city.
I just dropped a Logan's Run reference and you're going to ignore it? Fuck. I'm old. Right.
Or a Johnny Silverhand kind of situation where you're notorious enough that you won't you kind of clear of shit. Johnny Silverhand is a protagonist in the Cyberpunk universe.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Anti-hero.
Yeah. Oh, really?
It's a
anti-hero.
Cyberpunk does also lend itself very well to go out big. Listen, if I couldn't make a name living, I'm gonna make a name dying.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a Rogue One type of ending, possibly.
Yeah, that's very fitting with Cyberpunk. Is all or some of a crew does not make it out of a job.
Storm is saying "Vive la revolution!" Mando's rip the world. So there's a couple things here I just want to address on this, and then I want to get into your characters, and then after that I want to start building up your environment. So I have here, or I'm about to have here, the map of the city, and it'll just eat up the whole screen, and I'll show that to you guys in a second. In the chat, Fruity Odie Bar, holy shit! So. All right, 100 points to anybody that can give me what the reference is for Fruity Odie Bar.
Nope.
I'll give 100 points to myself. That is the Firefly franchise,
Oh.
and yeah, that's Serenity more specifically. But yeah, that's Brown Coat. All right. Anyway, moving on. So Zen says, so as a member community, if something came up, I was like, nope, not for me. I'll just not view that part of it. It brought up nonstop. Then it's not the story for me is all. Okay, so Zen takes that. There are no happy endings, y'all. Die or inspired someone else to do something crazy, like you're the spark that sets off the next spark, and maybe, just maybe, one day it will lead to somebody else taking on the megacorp. How do you guys feel about acting as not the center of action or the center for the cause of the downfall of a particular corp, but acting as the
Spark that lights the fire.
Yeah. You're perfect. All right, good. Because that's all like all the grunt work. That's
I mean,
think
it
that's
kind
actually-
of bleeds into introducing characters, but the
was about to
playbook
say,
I've chosen
yeah.
is very much like
That's
not
fucking
easy
awesome.
to
Keep
see
very
through.
much in genre with what we're trying to accomplish, but at the same time, I think that'll be very satisfying to the play style of everybody at the table. Where I think it kind of like touches on what everybody was just previously saying, where it's like, having that beacon of hope, or like going through the struggle, and even if we're doing this and we just made this much advancement, the big old bad world is still weighing down on us. The fact that our players are like, no, but we just put a chink in your armor. We showed that a god can fucking bleed.
I love that.
And once we showed that the god could bleed, that means you can go down. And that woke everybody, even if that was with our characters' last dying breaths, that we see that the corpos could fucking bleed just like us. You're like, wait a minute, maybe there is a chance, and we can go out in a blaze of fucking glory. Like, to me, that there's no more fucking like edge runny cyberpunky than fucking that.
All right, so
There's also something to be said about like inspiring, even just like inspiring overwhelming response from a corporation. Cyberpunk is a genre
that's
that
true.
It focuses so much on like identity and image that you always have, like, you cannot go through a cyberpunk city projecting weakness. You have to project this self-assured strength. Even if you've got nothing, you need to outwardly say, I'm comfortable with my nothing. Like, how about you? Like, you can't let people know that you're hurting. So if like 4 fucking nobodies in the middle of the city warrant, full on urban control unit, fucking like aerial vehicles, like raining gunfire down into this building, like everybody in the city looks at that and goes, whatever they were doing scared them.
Mm-hmm.
corporate fright. One last question regarding the setting that I have for you guys. Politics. How much control does the government actually have in a cyberpunk city?
It kind of melds together.
Zero. It
Real
melts
talk.
together. Okay.
Yeah, there's so much overlap and lobbying and interaction. The only difference between usually between corporations in a cyberpunk setting, in comparison to the government, is the government has the biggest guns.
Okay.
And if a corporation's like, we think we can do better than the government, then the government says, okay, give it a shot. And as they finish the word shot, there's something leveling their headquarters.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Or a
Okay.
little railgun.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's really what it is. The corpos are really in control of all the politics. So really the politicians are just a mouthpiece for what the corporations underneath them are funding them to say and do. So it's like the only reason why you're the president of this free state or free country or whatever. It's because I'm fucking paying you to do it, because I'm allowing you the ability to have a platform. Why do you think that your stream that night was promoted by my Big Lots, my Wish.com? Like, you didn't put that up. That's my billboard that you're fucking advertising.
I fucking love it.
Don't forget the fact that you're just saying that you're trying to run this city, but you're on my billboard. Like, as a corpo, that's how I'm thinking. I'm like, I run this shit. This is my city. I'm allowing you to speak because you're gonna push my agenda, and that's why all the corporations want to get the politicians in their pockets, and the politicians are moving on money and fear. They obviously they want the money, but at the same time they're afraid of these big corporations, because if they know what they are, which is why a lot of the politicians in cyberpunk communities are the big corpo companies, like some of their CEOs and heads that try to make their ways up.
So okay, Kev.
Something I envision. I know we're nowhere near Evandale, but if this setting were like on Evandale, the Syndicate would actually be the government, and they would have nothing to do with any of the individuals in the nation. They would be controlling the technologies that all of the other corporations of the Evandale world would be doing. And Evandale world, they'd be like, oh, okay, well, we harvest, organs. We maintain this technology. We're fighting Corporation B and L, just in corporate espionage to get certain things. But in the long run, we all serve the Syndicate.
That's exactly what this is. What this is. Yeah. So, all right, guys. All right, okay. You ready?
Oh, I touched something. Oops.
Are you good?
No, I pushed the button.
Oh, yeah, no, dude. No. It's a perfect segue. Okay, here we go. Prodigy Biotech, a company that specializes in developing and manufacturing advanced cybernetics and neural implants. Echelon Arms, a company that produces weapons and military hardware for the Syndicate's private security forces. Alias Minds Corp, a company that specializes in developing and providing advanced AI tech to other companies and government agencies. Echo Tech, a company that provides environmental management and clean energy solutions. Syndicate Media, Proxy Tech, Aurora Biotech, Zentech, Haven Corp, Fusion Dynamics, Life Tech, Damara Robotics, Archway Industries, Sunshine Produce, a company that specializes in developing and growing GMO produce with the intent of creating customer dependencies. Nourish Nation, a Syndicate-controlled food co-op. 3 Shell Solutions, I had to toss in.
Oh, I like that one.
I had to do 3 Shell Solutions, a company that specializes in developing and producing mostly useless home appliances.
And Taco Bell.
And Taco Bell. Yes, absolutely.
It's a shell company.
All right, you got it. PH, Syndicate Health, etc. There are a bunch of corporations which have already been developed, and World Anvil has them all now. So you guys can go to worldanvil.com/w/Evandale, and you should be able to see this. But as we near next week's game, we're going to see a hell of a lot more up there, including other things like the map that you guys will be able to see. But I'm also going to show that on stream in just a little bit. So where's some of the hope? Some of this came out of the development streams. So here we go. This is for Raffle. Terry's Tarps. This is going to keep your crops dry. So Erin's character talked about having well, I'll let you get into it, but you need tarps because it's always fucking raining. There are particulates in the air. It provides a reason for moisture to form into droplets, and therefore it's always moist and raining. So Terry's Tarps, and they sell tarps out of the back of a van, because the Syndicate didn't make those tarps. They're recycled, and the Syndicate does not like that. The Corner Cafe, a small family-owned coffee shop that serves homemade pastry. Coffee shop.
I'm on to you now. I see what you did.
Yeah, you're not lying, dude. That serves homemade pastries and sandwiches. The cafe would have a cozy, welcoming atmosphere, and the owners would be friendly and personable. This is like, this should be sauce as fuck. The Book Nook. It exists only in the sewer. It exists only in the sewer system. The Artisan Studio, the Community Garden, and Hal's Burger Chain.
Hal's, I love it.
So
I want to meet Hal.
Hal.
I was just about to say I'm going to Hal's. I literally said
We gotta meet Hal's.
So Hal's Burger Chain.
Are we going to Hal's?
It's a new HQ.
It totally, I know, right? It is underground. It is unlicensed and works out of the equivalent of a food truck somewhere under the city. So you have to find it. It's like a VIP kind of like, it is what it is.
You know.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
An underground food truck.
It
That
totally
sounds like
is.
a lot of OSHA violations.
Fucking OSHA, right? That's a dream. That's a utopia to have an OSHA. Their burgers come in a variety of options. Mostly what they have available or find at the time. Sometimes they acquire ingredients, and that's going to be up to you guys. Also, there is some additional slang which has been developed. Let me see here. Yep, there's slang. Sin scum, a derogatory term for syndicate officials or employees. Brain burn, the negative effects of prolonged use of neural implants. A skinner, someone who specializes in removing or altering the appearance of neural implants. Holohopper, someone who frequently uses virtual reality tech for entertainment or escapism. These are just suggestions that had come up. You guys will ultimately be creating Erin. You guys will ultimately be creating the actual lingo, and I encourage you, create a whole bunch of shit, however, whatever you wish.
I'm already there. I had one that I sent to chat earlier. What is it in relation to? It's killicent. It's a variation of being innocent, but where you are guilty according to the rules of Kill City, not the justice system.
Cool. Cool.
Oh, guilty of the wait. I'm typing that up.
I got you. I'll put it in the.
No. Say it again. Say it again.
It's a killicent. It's a variation of innocent.
Yeah.
Where you are not guilty according to the rules of Kill City, as instead of the justice system.
But morally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. According to the laws.
Laws, of course, of Kill City. Yeah.
Of Kill City. Okay, cool. That's fucking awesome. I like that. Not guilty according to laws, but morally, meh. Okay, cool. Meh. I actually put it in MEH. All right, sweet. So we'll toss that up there. All right. Let me get the city map up so you guys can see this.
Hey, maps.
Yeah, this is huge. I've been working on this now for a couple of weeks. It's fucking huge. Where to go? Hold on. I have to find it. I have to find it. Where to go? It's here somewhere. I closed out of Photoshop too. Oh dear.
You definitely saved it.
Oh no! I literally I definitely saved it. I definitely saved it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll find it. In the meantime, let's turn it back over to the players where the action actually belongs. Who are you playing? What's your name, if you have one? What are you thinking about? What questions do you have? And here's the challenge for you. How do you know at least one or preferably two other people in our group?
Oh, I'll start it off. I love doing these things.
Yeah.
So I'm playing a character going by the name of Killian Vasquez. So basically, he's a freelance IT and white hat hacker for Icewatch Industries, which is like a small independent group that will be going to large corporations and just checking on their firewalls and such to make sure that they're hacker proof. But of course, on the side, our boy, goes through the dark web and goes by an alias known as Anon. And as he's doing these things, he creates back doors for himself to go through to where he can just do some corporate espionage and sell to other corpos for some cash if need be, or try to look into the greater good and whatnot. But his main thing, he's into coding and programming for artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and virtual reality. Because in this world, he's known as the playbook of the architect, which customarily would be like the net runner or the person who's just like really into the hacking and things of that nature.
Oh, man.
And speaking prior, I actually think that I would actually really know the plight of Mike's character because of what he can describe with his character.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a nice little handoff. That was good.
Look
That was
at that.
good. That was
Look at
good.
Oh wait, no, this way.
You got
Yeah, it's
that?
over here now.
Wow. I see you, baby boy.
Yeah. I'll go next. I am playing Faustus, a doctor who
Dr.
worked
Faust.
for
Oh.
yeah, I'm playing Dr. Faustus. He worked for Greysteel Cybernetics, probably a subsidiary of a shell corporation that trace it back probably leads back to Prodigy or some other big biotech corporation. But they were a experimental sort of group that was looking for ways to reduce costs while keeping up like customer retention.
Well, what's that? Hold on. I think we froze, but what's the name of that corporation?
Greysteel Cybernetics.
Greysteel. Okay, hold on. Greysteel Cybernetics. Hold on. I have Kevin, or excuse me, I have Eric, but I have no one else. 1 second.
Oh.
Yeah, the syndicate decided to say, "Fuck off! You're not going to stream about us right now."
Oh, I can see everybody moving on Zoom.
Yeah, me too. Everyone looks good.
Yeah, because it actually has nothing to do. Oh, is that Amanda? Nope, there you go. Okay, Mike is back. All right, let me get Erin. Erin, can you move?
Hello. Moving.
Okay. I see what you guys are doing on Zoom, and it's not happening here. All right, 1 second. Let me refresh this. Okay, cool.
Here we
All
go.
right, there's Erin. All right, let me get Kevin back here. 1 second. This is fun.
He looks very focused.
He is extremely focused. All right, there we go. All right, that's much better. Greysteel Cybernetics. Okay, cool. Got it.
Yeah, they were an experimental corporation who's sort of, well, still are, but they focus a lot on customer retention and cost reduction. And one of the ways that they found to keep loyal customers was with a proprietary anti-rejection drug for their cybernetic implants. A small pump installed on the heart releases this slow drip of this very cost-effective, very basically undetectable in the blood, doesn't really change your chemistry much beyond just keeping those cybernetics running smooth. And so Faustus signed on with them. His contract stipulated he would receive his medical training and his cybernetics. And it was sort of like a 25-year contract that he had with them.
Ooh.
That he pretty much instantly broke as soon as he got chromed up and got out of med school. And as a result, they shut off the pump that runs his anti-rejection drugs. And in doing so, he became sort of test case zero on the effects of withdrawal from that drug, which are proving to be brutal, devastating, and ultimately fatal. Because I am playing the playbook known as The Dying. I'm suffering from a non-communicable, debilitating disease that is slowly destroying me. So
amazing.
now Faustus is attempting to do the most good that he can with the time that he has left, as his body is decaying and falling apart.
Oh, fuck.
Yep, which directly plays into my beliefs and benefits, because one of my biggest beliefs as the character is that big corpo should respect the common man's privacy and bodily autonomy. So the fact that they're using these hacks, like ironically, Steve, like you were saying prior, to control the pump in his body is one of the biggest upsets to Killian, and why he has this initiative to try to create these backdoor processes within these corporations to try to hack into them and try to give the common man back the right to literally live.
Fuck. Okay, Mike, how does your character know someone else in our group?
Well, beyond like knowing Eric's character because of that sort of like, you know, the connective tissue of like probably Faustus going into a bar somewhere and telling that story, and Anon just going like, that's why I do it. If Erin was still going with the character concept that they had presented in the Discord, then Faustus also works, like most of his work that he does, his medical work, is on like underserved, like unable to pay populations. He does a lot of like pro bono medical work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's why he signed on to this corporation. He could never have afforded the kind of medical training working where he grew up. So he basically stole the training and then came back to help the people who needed it. So I think I would probably have worked with or on Erin's character before.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Do I know about your plight?
Yeah, if you've spent like any time with him, it's fairly obvious. Like his cyberware is like basically jammed back in place after his body has tried to like violently reject it.
Okay, cool. I guess I'll go next because I was looking for another. I was gonna say I knew Kevin's character just from overall. Well, I know, right?
Do the circle.
Right?
Do the circle.
It's like a circuit. Yeah.
So I will take what you are giving me and carry it over here.
Yeah.
So my character's name is Haven Callisto. And I chose Haven Callisto because Callisto comes from the Greek word Callistos, which means fair or good, and Haven is home. So my character's like a tent city Robin Hood-esque kind of character. So I thought Good Home would be a very fitting name. There's a mechanic which I really like, really quick, that just describes like an overall what do they do to earn cred. It's called like what's their jam. She is very much a barter system kind of individual who is able to maintain general survival through bartering with others, and that's how she's really good at networking. But I figured if there was a way to make actual credit would be through smuggling, like black market, like stolen tech, medicine, especially to the underprivileged. So that would be a really good connection, Mike, to have a doctor who was part of the privileged, who's now no longer. So that's where that connection would be. She kind of lives in like whatever the tent city district is going to be. I think we were talking maybe like the pit area, which you could talk about later, but just
we're going to get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, but that's where her home base is, so she probably knows the majority of her connections are through there, which, you know, may not seem so powerful because everybody is poor, but with people power, it's very, very much you can do a lot of things. I think that one of her beliefs, tapping onto what Eric said about beliefs, having like fair and open access for the working class of what the privileged like ruling class gets, and that kind of drives her motivation, is just being able to provide to the working class what everybody should have access to. The other connection that she had, I was going to say Kevin, and I'll actually let him describe more about the origins, I guess, of that, but she would be able to utilize him and his work as having a safe haven for like illegal union meetings or anything like that. Very much a very leftist character. Finally, I really want to tap into that, but very much in a survival state. And I picked the Empath playbook for that reason. it allows us to explore emotions and how we can manipulate and utilize them to benefit the situation, but that comes with the caveat that sometimes it's against that person's consent or desire to be used in that way. So it'll be a really cool story for her to be able to, like, the kill one, save 1,000 mentality.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's
So pass
right.
it to
That's cool.
wait, pass it to Kevin. There you go.
Thanks. Hey, everybody. Kevin Adams here. I'm going to be playing the character Kode Vardosyn. I chose the name actually because of some real life interactions with the term Vardo, from my own background being a form of traveling. But the character is that of someone who plays the playbook by the owned. His whole philosophy is there are things in this world that are forgotten because everyone has too much in front of their face. There's the advertisement, there's the technology, there's the allure of crossing the lines when there's actually just building yourself up naturally, using the things that exist in this world that could be used as nothing by everybody else and could be treasures to others. So I wouldn't say necessarily a dumpster diver, but more so an opportunist with things that people don't usually see as treasured items. But that also goes in with things like access keys, jobs that nobody really wants because they seem too menial. For example, like holding the back door to a club, which is one of his primary jobs. He goes in between being a janitor, freelancing janitor for multiple areas throughout Killian City. But his primary one is where his family is from, which is right above one of those little tenements above a major club that a lot of corpos seem to go to. And whenever they go a little bit inebriated or they're doing something in the back way, or there's that rusty door that can't quite get open. Somehow, Mr. Kode has the two right bangs at the baseline of the door to open that door and have some discussion in the back room for somebody. He's always that guy. Very, very monk-like demeanor in terms of what this era has, considering he's never actually seen a monk, but he's very devout in trying to protect, one, his younger brother, who is a corpo, and two, his mother, who is currently suffering from corpo nefariousness because of her need for a device that she has to use to live.
Holy fuck.
So all he does is work and does what needs to be done to make sure that he gets the funds to make sure they stay alive. And he has overall kept his head under the radar. And I believe we were in the middle of trying to figure out if that turned bad, which is why he has started to interact with Haven.
Haven?
Yeah.
Me.
Erin's character.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, right. Thank you. I have to get used to the names. I'm totally swimming in the character stories right now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. That tramp.
Yeah.
So you didn't.
I'll do my accent for the first session, so it's not too hard.
So it's not jarring.
Gonna wean you off of it.
Okay. All right. Let me give you guys a very amateurish presentation of the city called Killian City.
Yes.
What we are looking at is a massive sprawl, starting off with the home of most of you, if you so choose it, the pit. What this is this used to be an old water cistern. However, the corporation that handles water delivery decided that water collection via this is no longer needed. Therefore, tenements have been built all along the vertical sides and all across the bottom. No UCU member or officer ever goes down there. The pit is probably the worst place to live, but the best place to get shit done. Next to that, Iron Heights. This place is completely, I mean, it's walled in. You're not going to get in there. This is where many of the middle management and upper management, well, I shouldn't say middle management, but upper management of many of the corporations live. They literally built an iron barrier between you and them. Directly north of that, we have the docks, the North Docks and the South Docks. There is an area which they are connected in. However, due to recent floods, it was washed away. That ended up becoming known as the Splash. Not because of the water there, but because of the sound that bodies make when they are dropped into it to get rid of things.
That's lovely.
That was a community suggestion, not mine.
That's lovely. Good job,
So
community.
good.
The old city was the original part of this city before it grew out to become Killian City. And the old city is where you're going to find some of the original buildings that used to live here. However, it still is an oppressive place, and this is where you're also going to find many of the government zones or government buildings and what have you. Directly to the west of that is the grid. The grid is where you're going to find the majority of your corporations, etc. And just to give you an example, each of these, you'll see here that there's like a block right here that's slightly different in color than that.
Yeah.
This is height differences. The city itself, believe it or not, is actually ready to be rendered in Google, whatchamacallit. You can get a 3-dimensional version of the city. But more to the point, each of these are individual offices, buildings, etc. And this is just a block of it. So
cool.
When you take a look at this and you can see the individual byways in between, compare that to the pit and all of the tenement housing within.
Oh my God.
So we now move over to the north of this. Oh, for some reason this is not showing. Thank you very much. So here is the North District. Oh, let me bring this down. There we go. The North Market. This is where you're going to find a lot of your more higher priced items and other things like that. This is kind of like the whole North End is where some of the wealthy live. And by wealthy, I mean more the entertainers and other things like that, the corporate sponsors, etc. If you get picked up by corporate sponsorship, you are very often teased with a new home in the North End. And the North Market is one such place. This is where you're going to find a lot of the high-end augmentations, as well as other things that you ordinarily would never be able to afford. In fact, this entire northern section is exactly that. Moving over here, we can see how so much of the city has completely fallen off the grid. In order to punish a neighborhood, they simply cut off power. And when people die, they hope that the residents get the point of who it is that's in control. Well, some years back, the entire western portion of the city, feeling a little bit of immunity from the government way out east, that is to say, the corporations, felt that they would be able to rebel and what have you. That was a group of 3 people. They shut off the entire grid. And they've never turned it back on, and it has since become a wasteland. However, certain areas then became quarry zones. Not quarries as in minerals or rocks, quarries as in technology, scrap steel, implants that are still within the living, etc. Corporations will very often send agents to these areas, like tent cities, etc., in order to reclaim what they feel is theirs. There are 2 such zones marked on this map, and there are yet still more. You can tell by some of the curves and what have you. Yeah, some of this is just, it's barely clinging on. This whole thing here was a boundary of a grid. Some portions of the city, like way out here, still have electricity, not because the corporations are providing it, but because they jack the wires. Continuing down here, we have the sprawl. This is furthest out. If you continue west from here, you start heading into some zones where the fire and demolitions have completely destroyed the western portion of the city, and you start heading out into the wastelands after this. But even within the sprawl, which is arguably, I mean, the pit is pretty bad. The sprawl also has its disadvantages, but it's also the Warrens. Tenement housing without any power whatsoever. It is a lawless area. Needless to say, crime is rampant, but mainly because of survival and not because of greed. Having said that, it's called the Warrens because of those who also live underground, like rats, because they have resorted to nefarious means of survival, including cannibalism.
No,
So-
no, we're never going
Yes, I love
there.
cannibalism.
No.
Shade City was the most recent portion of the city to have its power cut off. The citizens there decided, nope, they're going to reclaim their home, call it Shade City. They wanted to do something in order to keep it upbeat. Well, the reality is that the electricity that is supplying Killian City isn't cutting it anymore. More and more people continue to be born. The drain on the grid continues to grow, and every now and then entire zones will simply go out of power. They decided to cut the power to Shade City permanently after a series of punishments, after an uprising against a particular UCU unit. Well, this is their punishment. The zone to the south is one that I'm still working on, so this is all a work in progress. And as you can tell, a lot of the housing on either side here is just completely shut off, burned down, or what have you. There is plenty of opportunity within the city for you to go completely off grid, and these darkened zones are more than likely going to be it. But if you take a look here, hold on, let me bring this up here. I'm going to cut off a lot of the screen here, and I apologize, but let me show you this, some of the features of the city that you should be aware of. So you'll notice down here, little red squares, and then more little red squares. And then the exclusionary zone.
Notes.
And a little more red squares and some more red squares. That is how they keep you away from Aiden Springs. Aiden Springs is that area where only the elite live. It is a large, expansive area. The black squares in here are not devoid of energy or anything. No, those are gardens. Sometimes, as the wind comes through, you can kind of get the smell, the reminder that life exists in Aiden Springs, but not for you. You may get a slight floral scent on the air, but only after it has been tempered with the with Iron Heights and the smell of rust that comes from that area, etc. The exclusionary zone is a guaranteed kill. You come anywhere near it, you will die. How do you die? Well, that's where these red blocks come in. If you want to follow any of the byways that lead east, you have to go through these checkpoints. These checkpoints are heavily armed. Now, we know in certain other, in some of the other campaigns that there was, or rather in the last campaign in Untimely Heroes, that there was something called simulants. Simulants are the Syndicate's answer to androids. Well, in this setting, the simulants absolutely exist. However, they are expensive to maintain, and the Syndicate doesn't like to give control of their personal units to the corporations. So corporations have also gone out there and started creating some of their own. So you may encounter different kinds of androids or what have you. But if you ever come across a simulant, you're fucked, because that means that the Syndicate itself is now involved. Now, very typically, the Syndicates are not used against the citizenry because it's just a waste of energy, but instead against the corporations themselves in order to keep them in line. But those red square areas have simulants in them, and their sole purpose is to kill anything that approaches that area. So be advised.
Question.
Yeah.
Can people in actually I have two questions. Can people in Aiden Springs leave
Yes.
Eden Springs? How are they able? Is that something we can find out in character?
100%. In fact, you already know it. Yeah, there are arrow units that will just simply carry them over the scum.
Okay.
Yeah, they simply fly out and fly in.
Okay. The other probably most important question of the game is, can you describe the district called the Taint? Because I saw that and I was like, I want to go there, please.
Okay, all right. So let's get into the Taint. So there are a couple of areas here, small minor ones, and this again was due to the community in the chat. They came up with the notion. I forget who it was. Yeah, Zen was like, no Tarrytown. Well, there is a Tarrytown. It's just not yet on the map. It's mainly because I also lived in Tarrytown, New York. So I'm kind of like, but I like that place. There is the underbelly. Some of these areas that exist in between the colored areas are really meant to evoke feelings of being in between. They don't serve a purpose whatsoever. It is simply more housing, generic businesses, and what have you. But over the course of the campaign, it's going to be you guys who are going to be defining each of the properties of the city. So the underbelly, the abyss, which is more in between the pit and Iron Heights, there is not even a way to get here. And you can already see that in between this checkpoint and this checkpoint, and between Alpha and Bravo, there's no, you can't even get to the abyss. So when you come here, you're here to die. That's your own personal hell, and hence the abyss. You have Tarboy Dregs. Tarboy Dregs is gangland activity, heavy crime, etc. Yeah, this
Such a cool name.
This area here is just really that's one of mine. I'm happy with that.
Good job.
This one is really bad, and that extends up towards the Taint, which we'll hit in a second. Flat City is not because the buildings were flat. It's because the whole place had been leveled, and the citizenry started building it back up. They started to take matters into their own hands. And a part of the punishment for having done that in this area, they simply cut off the fucking power. The corporations haven't yet done that because many of these people are also employees for some of those corporations. And then, of course, we have the Taint. Its definition is going to be left up to you.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. It's yeah. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I have a question, Steve. You probably have it either hidden or not available to show everybody else, but I am really interested in the map of, if there is even one, the subway system. I want to know what's going on underneath this right here. But I'm not gonna. It's not a question. It's rhetorical. It's rhetorical. I am just world building, curious about it. That's all. You can do whatever you like. I'm good.
And the sewers.
There's a subway system. There's also a sewer system map.
Do you really make one? That's amazing.
You don't say.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Very cool. Very cool.
People.
So
Frogs.
what I can say about the sewer system is that for those of you that come from the sewer system, you're going to get the map. I'm not gonna create multiple versions which have like hidden portions of it. You're going to get the map. The real it's not done yet. The real reason for that is I want you to have freedom of movement through the city with the dangers there. It's going to be this campaign's version of like a dungeon crawl or what have you, because some of it is going to go through areas that people have claimed. You see, the city, you have the surface city. Those are the when you have a surface dweller culture, there's a little bit of elitism, but not really, because the real life actually takes place under the city, inside of the sewers, inside of like the subway tunnels and what have you. And there is a point of pride that comes for those people who understand when these super fast trams then come through, or these super fast cars come through, the electric cars, because your enemy could be standing on the tracks the moment that this thing comes through, and you know when it's going to run through, but others don't. And of course, the vast majority of the subway tunnels are completely shut down just due to disrepair. So Yeah, you're going to have that. One of the questions
we need to know where House Burger is.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a chain.
Yes.
It's a chain.
Yes.
And you can own it. There's no restrictions on that. You guys can actually run that if you want. You can run a House Burgers. So one of the
I'll do
questions.
some courier work.
So one of the questions asked in the chat was non-humans. Do non-humans live here? Yes, in fact, let me see if I can find it. There is a. Well, let me see if I can show you the graphic for it. Hold on. There is a promotion graphic for the campaign. Let me pull this thing out. Let me see. Is it over here? There it is. Yeah. I think I can answer your question by showing you this. Let me do this and do this. Okay. By showing you this. This is Killian City. Some of you had seen it previously. If you wanted to know what simulants might look like, this might be it. Hold on, let me expand this out so you guys can see this a little bit more in 1 second. Hold on here. There we go.
Damn, that's cool.
So, yeah, this is what they may look like. This guy is a fucking simulant.
Huh.
So you can now understand where some of the, how far they get into it. However, all simulants do have glowing eyes. That's your one thing. So when you come up on someone, you will know if they are a simulant or not, but you may not know from a distance. This guy here is not a simulant. You will find out who that is. This is, of course, the old city center. To give you an idea as to what the city actually looks like. This guy here, I already have his voice, and you're gonna want to know him. Oh yeah. This guy, he's gonna be your pawnbroker, your fence, and he's never.
Oh, that's my boy.
Yep.
And he's never gonna be trusted. Don't ever fucking trust him.
Nope.
You wanted to know
Eric,
whether or not there were.
You better not kill him.
You wanted to know whether or not there were non-humans in the city. Look at those ears.
Nice.
Yep, you absolutely have that. And this guy right here, hopefully you won't kill him. So that's a little bit of some of the stuff that we have here that I've been developing. I wanted to get NPCs in this that are full of life, full of motives and reasons why they would want to fuck you over or want to help you. So, but I have not done what I did with previous campaigns, which is develop an entire history for some of them, because I don't know whether or not they will continue to live. You can ask them to do something for you. They then get caught, and bad things happen to people. So that's something there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About the NPCs, the ones that you specifically showed us. So if there is like an elvish kind of
Race.
race
Species we're using the term species.
Cool. In the game, how does that, and this is a different planet, how do we know as characters, or should we know how they got to that planet? If it's coming, I'm assuming, is that a carryover from? No,
you're looking at a setting that is incredibly it harbors intellectualism, and so education is not a thing, and that includes history. You don't even know when the hell the city was founded, let alone the people who live in it and how they came here.
Okay.
I like that.
But
can we know as players? Because that's really interesting to have like a carryover from a different planet over into this one.
Sure. Yeah. In the universe of Evandale, and I'm now calling it like the world. I think I referenced it as the Evandale metaverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not going Web3 with it. You're not going to see NFTs.
NFTs.
Yeah, fucking NFTs. But what it is, it's a multi-dimensional, multi-age setting. Having said that, we only know that one little planet. But if you take into account dude, thank you so much for the cheer. Hey, I know you. If you take into account that this one planet is a source of knowledge and lore pertaining to Evandale. In 2 campaigns ago, we had touched on, or rather I touched on, the entrance of certain elements that opened up gateways to other worlds. And because of that, it was established that there are other species on other planets, gnomes in particular. Well, we are in the year 23 something or 26 something or 2386, I think, which goes back to Fifth Element. That's the year in which Fifth Element took place. So,
Nice.
by the way,
Nice Easter egg.
yeah, I just figured I'd drop that in there. These kinds of portals have opened up in the past, and people did traverse through them and became explorers in their own right.
Oh.
That kind of stuff you see in the beginning, or rather mid-Fifth Age, several thousand years ago. So there's been ample time for people to move around and find themselves in other places.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, I do not have a hard reason for. I don't have a hard answer for that, though, other than that. So I'm open to, you guys actually contributing to that story if that's something that you want to do.
That's a cool starting point, though. It leaves it a lot of it. It gives it a good foundation where there's not a lot of wiggle room for like really screwing up the continuity of everything, which is really cool. The follow-up question I had to that was, where in the timeline and what is going on that compares or that draws the connection between this setting and campaign to Rise Against?
Oh, wow. Okay, so Rise Against was a short-lived campaign that happened about a year and a half ago or so. About a year ago. And it took place on a desert planet where the Syndicate had sent down forces that had depleted the planet of all resources and left the workers and their families there to simply starve and die. The Syndicate then fucked off, left, and then the campaign then picked up where the Syndicate sent forces back to overtake a settlement, and they were like, there's no resources left. Why the hell would they be here? And then Rise Against was going to be that campaign. Just due to me not having enough time in the day to run 2 campaigns at that time in my life. Unfortunately, the campaign came to an end, but it was an awesome fucking game. So where are we in that? That game exists concurrent to this one.
Oh, so that's happening at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, give or take, several years, decades, or what have you. The point here is not to link this to Evandale, but to rather, or not to link it to prior Evandale lore, but rather to expand upon it in a very communal fashion.
Yeah,
thanks to my job, I've learned a lot of new things about how to interact with the community and build out lore. So I'm totally taking advantage of that and using this as experience building on my side too, which is why I really enjoyed this system, allowing you guys to take control.
Yeah, I think the what I like is that there is a driving force that's connecting them, but not relating them. So in terms of like being super duper intimate, it's very much like the Syndicate is like an overall arc between the things, but it doesn't have, there's a lot of freedom to do what you would like.
Yeah, the Syndicate owns or controls at this point in time 3 galaxies.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's
okay.
Trillions. It's just trillions of stars. It's an unrealistic number, and many of the planet in Rise Against was terraformed. They spent about 100 years creating a planet that they would eventually deplete of all of its resources in about 50 years. So, over the span of 2 generations, the planet was dead. So that's what the Syndicate does. This particular planet is not one of those planets. It was It was originally a settler planet that was meant as a Syndicate base. Which exists somewhere else, like on the other side of the wastelands. So good luck. And the shit that's out there in the Wastelands is the same kind of stuff that you would find that you found in Rise Against, those kinds of creatures and other things. So having said that, yeah, monsters do exist.
Cool.
However, the monsters were not. I do not want to spoil the concept of a cyberpunk genre with pitting you against, some sort of a monster that typically belongs in like a sci-fi fantasy type of situation, but instead something that resembles the horrors or the byproducts of experimentation or mutation. But I don't want to go down the realm of fantasy. I want it to be plausible, which to me really it tells a much more intimate story because that's something that we can relate to.
Cool.
Does that answer
Thank
all
you.
your questions?
It does. Thank you very much.
Cool. What else you guys got? Nothing else?
I want to play.
Yeah, I know. All right.
My mind was ready to jump in tonight. I was ready.
So here's what's going to happen. Based on some of the answers, because I was writing down a lot of the stuff, like I love Graysteel Cybernetics and Icewatch Industries. You guys mentioned that kind of stuff, so now I begin to build that out. The world itself is going to be built out probably this weekend, and it'll be up on World Anvil, and then we will go from there. Let me think. Yep, that's going to be broadcast up on our Discord. So come on into the Discord if you want to keep tabs on it. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm working on other stuff as well. So my hope is that by next week, you guys, the players, will have your primer. So you will understand. That actually, I need to ask you something. You've seen the city. Oh my God, I can't believe I almost skipped over this. Where do you live? What do you? Yeah, we got to build out our home. We have time.
Wait, you got that? You got that map up so I could go exactly where?
Yeah, dude. Hold on. Let me. Somewhere I have that map. Nope, that's not the map. That's. Oh boy. Oh, can I show you? Let me see. Can I show you this? Hold on.
How many things?
I don't know. I can show you what the city streets look like.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, shit.
Yeah. Also, I loved. I saw you, like I would look over your shoulder as you were making the map, and I thought it was so cool that how you're using Photoshop to like carve out the districts and stuff. This is the first time I'm seeing and noticing when you said that there's like a height aspect to it. That is fucking the coolest world building shit that I've ever seen in my life, and I think you were incredible. And I'm speaking objectively as human to human, that is like some of the most creative fucking world development to be able to have a height map as well. I was not expecting that. I thought you just made like carved out districts. Like you had height. That is so fucking cool.
Yay.
So.
Okay. So
yeah, like as soon as you showed that, I jaw dropped. I was like, oh, I see it. I know.
Yeah, you'll be able to. I mean, if there's time in the day, then yeah, I'll do like a height map and stuff like that. But
it's like the thing, because like especially in like when you play fantasy, everything seems very 2D because everything's very flat. Yeah. But Cyberpunk is very built upwards into the sky and down underneath. So like
huge, cool. Yeah. That goes into the subway maps. That goes into other things. It's I've had a lot of stuff on my plate, so I haven't been able to develop as much as I wanted to. So I apologize for not being as prepared for tonight as I would have liked to, but I'm doing what I can.
All good.
Having said that,
I just realized something.
What's up?
For my playbook, I have something on there called my prognosis. So that's up to you to decide, or us to decide together, what it looks like for my sickness getting worse.
Dude.
It can either be random, like roll at the beginning or end of a session, and like sometimes it gets worse, sometimes it doesn't, or it could be on a set timeline of like something happened, it gets worse, something happened again, it gets worse.
Okay, well, all right. We will. Yeah. A lot of the stuff, I admit my naivete, and you're gonna have to help me out with that. So
yeah, no.
Yeah, that's totally it. All right.
Yeah, the only thing is like when I like it's baked into my playbook when I start with a +1 in symptoms, and when my symptoms hits +5, I die.
That's amazing.
Good to know. Okay. All right. We will absolutely cover that because
There it is.
by the way, Dimitri or Demetrius, I want to say Demetrius over at World Anvil came back with a request. They have added or an answer to something. At my request, they added the Veil as a playable system within World Anvil, so your characters will be stored over there.
Amazing.
And I'm creating the character sheets for that as well within World Anvil. That'll be a community contribution, but that may be a little bit of time. So just for the interim, you guys are going to maintain your own stuff, and then you're going to have to just remind me of stuff, and I apologize.
Cool.
What? Go ahead.
Are we going to talk about that today with our character, like
I would love
beliefs,
that.
improvements, and our moves? I think it'd be really cool to like listen to what everybody is.
Yeah,
picking
hell
for
yeah,
their shit.
yeah. You want to do that first?
What were we gonna do? I forgot.
The map. We're gonna make.
I'm sure where you live.
Let's do that first, because then we can
the
go
map.
from there.
Okay. So I want to give you an example what a sample top-down view of the city might look like.
I'm so mad how good this is.
I know.
So I
bringing
wanted
up emotion.
I wanted to get there is light there on the streets in some places and other things like that, but we also see the neon elements of advertisement in every single aspect of life. It controls it, and where there is not light from cities from street lights, there is light from billboards and other things. I'm going to go right through this here really quick. There is, come on, you. No, I can't do that. Nope. Okay, cool. That's fine. Hold on. Let me bring it back to this real quick. Where's my stuff and things? There we go. Okay, let me bring up another one. Out in the wastelands, you are still not going to be. Let me bring this back up. You're not going to be safe from giant ass screens where, in this case, telling you about weather systems that are come rolling in, or advertisements, etc. So even out in the wastelands, you're going to have some problems there trying to get away from the grid, because that also acts as a satellite dish, which communicates with your augments. Let me go over here. Here we go. Here's another one. This building you should become at least a little bit familiar with. It's in the center of the city, and it's going to be, which one is this? Yeah, this is a nice little cafe. This is a little burger. The entrance is just on the other side and whatnot. This is you can see where people are sitting down to eat, but I had wanted to give you a little bit of an idea as to what living in the city actually looks like. This is some abstract art that I came across. I wanted to know what my monitors would look like in this kind of a place, and so some of this is generated art, some abstract art, etc. An example of one of the scenes that are running away from something here that, well, let's just hope that you never actually encounter that. But remember when I said that corporations also have their own kind of like androids or what have you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an example of one of those, one of the units that's attached to corporate police. So that's a thing. Let me get you into a city street scene. So this is what your characters would see on any given night. Yeah, it's constantly lit by neon just about everywhere. Buildings are dark and ominous. Sometimes the lighting on them is a little bit monotone. I didn't want to go down the strictly neon aspects of Cyberpunk, but also convey the Evandel darkness. And this building is an example of that. And yet another one as well. Tracer fire from somebody who decided to steal a helipad. Or I'm sorry, one of the helilofts.
A whole helipad.
Yeah, they took up the concrete and everything. This one you should know. Your characters may end up coming across that building in a little bit. We'll decide what that is. Of course, that's the old core. That's what it looks like during the day. And then some of the characters who also live here. This motherfucker you may come across, as well as this guy. This is an example of what it looks like to walk through from the wastelands and into the city beyond, way out west.
That's so fucking cool.
Some of the logos that exist here. Oh yeah, that's right. These guys. These are the Neon Scorpions. You will encounter logos for each of the gangs, which are also there. So when I describe a particular logo or something like that, then there should be depictions of that as well. You've seen that, and yeah, so that is that. I have a couple more things in there, but kind of want to keep them secret, such as the entrance to the, well, I think I passed by it, but the entrance to the pawn shop and stuff like that. I want you guys to become a little bit more familiar with the sights, the smells, the sounds of the city, and see where that's going to go.
Can I say something about the art? Because this is so exciting. I love this so much. No matter what your feelings are about AI generated art, the fact that AI generated art was being used to convey a cyberpunk setting is such a cool connection between where we are now in a society to like the story we're going to tell. And I love I love how that is like bridging us to that situation. It's so
scary.
Cool.
It's fucking scary. It's absolutely scary.
It gave me chills. I was like, are we really like, this is art? Like, oh, it's just spooky. I love it.
And one of the things I don't like about it though, is that I'm not integrating with human artists. That pisses me off.
Exactly.
I have to admit that. I don't fucking like that.
But I think it motivates you to tell a good story about like how to connect with people in a world where human connection is so,
I hope so.
Like strained. Yeah.
I hope so.
I love it.
Alrighty. Zen has said, with the rain, I feel like some of it is fashioned like a Death Stranded. Death Stranded. I've heard of it, but I don't know. Is that it's
fashionable rain?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like you don't have natural ozone, so we're going to create this artificial rain for you just so you feel like a regular ass person.
Oh, no shit. That's what, oh my God.
Well, that's Death Stranding is the Kojima game that came out after he left Konami, and the rain in there, like it's this constant pervasive thing that you'll just, because you play as a delivery man delivering shit all over the country. And the rain is timefall. The rain ages things.
I was just about to
So,
say,
like,
imagine
you're like-
that like run by the corporations where it's like, you know what? These people are, it's going to imagine just constant rain and just soggy and wet. And the corporations control that. And it's like, oh,
I had to
this
stop
area
playing
is a bunch of dicks. We're going to make it rain for a month.
I had to
Have
stop
fun
playing
living in
Death
those
Stranding
conditions.
over the pandemic because I couldn't deal with a thing of like, everybody in the whole country has to isolate inside little bunkers and havens, and the most important people are delivery people who go all over and bring us essentials. I was like, no, it's too real.
Storm.
Can you imagine being in the Pacific Northwest and playing Death Stranding in the pandemic?
Ugh.
You would know the difference between that and fucking real life. Smog rain and gray rain from the smog. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. It's kind of how I envision it. So we need to discuss where you're going to live and in what kind of an environment. And as usual, the way that I typically do this is that you can, if you want me to tell you what districts will fit, I can. If you want to determine and carve out your own existence in a district that has yet to be defined, you can. There's no limit to anything. So, with the exception of one thing, you are not allowed to be an ally to anyone in Eden Gardens. They're just not there for you. Corporations are out to fuck you over and use you like a battery until you run out of energy. So, having said that, where would you like to live? Do you live in close proximity with each other, to each other, if not with each other? What does your compound look like? Your flat, what have you?
I live in a very convenient, shitty tenement above a high class, like bar, not bar, club, like a nightclub. You know, good turntables, EDM music. You know, something with an outside bar overlooking the city. But I live in the shitty apartment that's right next to it.
Next to it or above it?
Or above it, excuse me.
So you get no
and
sleep.
Yeah, no, I do not. Mainly because I usually work it so that, my family is taken care of, and my younger brother can work his corpo job in the daytime.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so wherever that would be centralized for everybody else, I was thinking somewhere north in the map that you put up, but I'd have to see it again in order to.
It's if you live up there, then the amount of creds that you need to, you're looking at. Here's how you can live there. That's not a problem whatsoever. I just need you to come up with a way that you can afford it, and that could be I inherited it, and the corporations just never fucking realized it. You come up with that. All right, I have no problem with that. But yeah, typically you're looking at something that would probably require about 3 lifetimes worth of income in order to afford a shitty apartment above a high class neighborhood. Having said that, you come up with a reason for it.
Heard.
Who else wants to go?
I think Faustus lives in the pit, like in that area. Like he knows, like
you love slums.
I love slums. No, but it fits, and also like part of the playbook is like the disease is horrible, but it also gives you certain things. And one of mine ones is your organic tissue regrows at a rapid rate. You cannot succumb to death until the disease takes you. So he's like, listen, I don't need somewhere comfortable. I don't need somewhere that I can get nourishing, good food. I literally need somewhere that has 2 rooms, 1 to sleep in, 1 to work in.
God, the pit is so. Typically, and then this is going to be up to you to decide how you want to interpret this or how you want to change it. Typically in the pit, the amount of people that live down there, they pretty much live down there. It's almost rent-free. Almost. No one goes down there to collect credits. And most of the people that are down there are not on a system where they can collect money through even electronic funds, because the chances of there being a fucking electricity down there is very unlikely. So a lot of people tend to live, you know what it is? It's the rips of the city. So
Found it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So welcome back. Okay. By the way, are you a constable?
No, I'm a doctor.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to hear.
Damn it, Jim! I'm a doctor, not a constable.
I wanted to hear the voice.
Right now.
There we go. Yes. Okay.
Right there.
Oh my god.
Right then, I'm
We're all
right here.
simping
All
for-
right then.
No, right. See, last you saw me, I was standing in the field with me aunt. I'm still there.
Okay.
Freeze framed forever.
Alrighty. So typically the tenements down there would be about 10 people to a single place. You're living in squalor. Rats are meat. And sustainable. There is some trade, and there's actually a lively environment down there. There's also a little bit of freedom being so close to, in proximity wise, but so far away technologically wise from from your corporate masters. So there is a little bit of freedom in that place, but it's oppressive as fuck.
Yeah, I think he's definitely like down there, like bartering like medical services for any like people who cannot go to a major hospital in return for them bringing him the medical supplies he needs to treat the people in the pit.
Okay. All right. Cool. I love that. Christ, I love that. Okay. Who's next?
I'd like to go because that will fit really well. If I know both Kevin's character and Mike's character, being on the outside of the pit would be a really good place for Haven. I think that if she had like the most powerful thing about her is that she has a direct line from above to below to access like smuggling, like especially medical supplies. And if that's how she knows Dr. Faustus, then being able to have like a system that is, whether it's human courier or whatever, to bring up stuff for people down below.
So there is a way that you can get down to the pit. There's 3 ways. One of them almost never works, and that is the elevator system. They implemented it and then they cut the power, so it's fucking useless. So they ended up decoupling it from the cables, and now they just have chains and a giant ass wheel, a la like Mad Max and Thunderdome type of shit. So that's one. 2, you can just walk down. 3, you can use the preferred method because it's a hell of a lot quicker. Because remember, you also have to walk back up if you're going to take that route. Is the ramshackle? It's not a trolley system. It's their own version of elevators. It's just with ropes, sheets, and anything else that they have with like chicken wire cages and stuff in order to get people from place to place. And very often you go up here, you walk across this platform, go up here, walk across this one, etc. So, FYI.
That's cool.
and
I love it.
Where do you actually live in the pit?
No, I would live at the top.
You live at the top. Okay. So
yeah.
you're in the pit district. You're just not in
Yes.
the pit. Okay, cool. Okay.
That way I can utilize the club for like the secret union meetings. and
Sure.
stuff.
Before it was torn down, the pit was inspired by Kowloon. So if you look up, was it Kowloon and the tenements of Kowloon, you should have a good idea of what you're looking at for the
Beautiful.
pit. And actually, folks, I have a picture of the pit for you.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I need to find it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the damn thing. 1 second. It's let me see. What the fuck is it? Hold on. I know I have it. It's here. Is it there? No, it's not there. Hold on.
While
Is
we're
it-
waiting, I got salt and vinegar chips in my grocery order that I didn't order. So sorry to the people that ordered them and didn't receive them, but I'm eating them now.
Baller.
If they're actually watching our stream, it's
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of okay, cool.
Erin, there you go.
Oh, amazing.
Okay, I can't. Grr, this sucks. I can't find it right now. But arg. I can't.
Arg.
I can't find it right now. But I do have the pit, and you guys will be able to see that next week. Erin, anything else?
She's very poor, but that's kind of like a decision she made because she can use the barter system. So she's not really lacking anything. She's just kind of living day to day.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, that's cool. And last we come over to Eric.
So Killian, grew up a street kid, so he would have definitely been. As soon as you were talking about the Tar Boys, I was like, oh yeah, he would have definitely been around that, because I was picturing him right off the bat in like this like gang-ridden urban tenement building, and it just in my head always envisioned like these like stacked complexes, and he would be living on one of the upper ones, and I view him much like myself in the sense that he's like a 39-year-old man, so he's at that like age where like the gang banging and things like that was like a young man's game, so he might have known like a lot of these young guys and these young folks like parents that might have been in the thing, you know what I mean? So they almost look at him like a uncle or older brother status kind of situation, but that's he's still like in the dumps a lot, trying to make ends meet with the jobs that he does, because he does take on gigs for corpos, but they're nothing too crazy. They're just trying to secure their systems, but they can get any old person. Ice Watch Industries is not a huge like firm or anything like that. It's just like this like small thing that kind of pays the bills, and they're like, oh, so you're one of those architects, like you can get into fucking systems. And he's like, yeah, man, like that's what I do. And they're like, great, like, and they'll like toss him jobs that he can almost like do from his house,
Okay.
or from his his tenement. So he doesn't even have to go on location a lot of times. He almost plays like Overwatch in a lot of deals. Where
Overwatch.
Yeah, like Overwatch in like a Shadowrun sense, where he's like at the house and he has like a decent little set.
Oh, I thought you were playing like the. I thought you were playing like the FPS.
Oh
game.
no,
It's
no,
like
no,
Overwatch.
no.
It's high
But,
noon.
It's high noon. But no, like where he's kind of like doing a lot of that stuff, because being that he's jumping into the how do they call it in this, like using his cyber brain to jump into that augmented reality. He doesn't have to necessarily be on location to be on location. So
that's awesome. Are you particular to the types of gang? We're not going to get into the details of that because that'll come out during gameplay. But are you particular to one gang over another, or just you don't give a fuck, money's money, or credits are credits, or what have you?
Yeah. Credit to credit. It was just one of those things where Killian grew up in that particular neighborhood, and that's just what it became, and that's who they were. And it's like to him, he looks at the gangs in a different aspect, where it's like, no, this is this gang banging is a young person's game, and they're just doing what they need to do to protect themselves in a family format against bigger corporations. So he doesn't even view it as threatening as somebody who doesn't live amongst them may view it, because they're on an outside looking in situation, and they may like when you're in those tenements, you're like, okay, they're actually protecting us, and they might be making their moves the way that they are doing in an aggressive manner, but they're doing it for the betterment of the people. Where someone on the outside, it's like, wow, these people seem very threatening, and it's because that's like I think Mike was saying it before, like you have to live your life in that mindset and convey that to show dominance, so people don't try to press you for what little resources you have.
Okay, that's going to be a challenge to roleplay. That's a huge challenge to roleplay. Think of like the prison system. You have to join the gang. You have to choose sides. Yeah. So I love to see how you're going to navigate that.
So like Killian would be like whatever territory like he would be in. Like I was just thinking Tarboy for just simple fact of like geographical location by the pit. Okay. And like as soon as you said it was just like the first one you mentioned, so I was like, ooh, like that, that could work. Where like he's close enough to the pit where if he needs to make moves and go into the pit, or like physically, he can do that because he's still trying to find whatever type of resistance, because he still has that mindset of trying to find like-minded individuals to try to take on like you were saying, like trying to get that that proverbial like snowball rolling.
Okay, all right, so I have one last question for you guys for the night. You all know each other. You're coming into this somehow, some way knowing each other. Mike, Erin, and Eric, you've chosen areas that are very close to each other on the daily basis. You're operating with each other, such as with Erin and Mike. Eric, you are in a nearby area, and I can see you getting involved in some of the heists and other things that have to happen over here. But Kevin, you're way the hell up north, and transportation from going down to the south, not very likely. Why would your character know them?
My only link that I had currently was actually with Haven, when she came up during a club job at some point, and I was working at the club at the time and overheard her very terrorist talk, but in code, that she was having with whatever client, and I had a conversation with her, and we've kept in contact since.
All right. Okay, that totally works. At Erin's request, I'm done with that. I have what I need, and everything else is going to come out during the game. The last thing of the night, what can your characters do? What are your moves?
Oh yeah.
We have to go, and I have to go into my character sheet for that.
Okay.
Because I didn't pick him yet.
Oh yeah, so, what did you want to go over then?
I like going over the moves with people at a table to see like if there was like two that people were stuck on and they're like, oh yeah, that would be really cool because then I have this, and it'd be, I don't know. I don't know if it's like super important. It's just something I usually do in person, so I didn't know how that would translate online, but I understand we can keep things moving.
No, I don't give a fuck about that. No, we're all friends sitting around the table.
A character sheet rundown.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's hear what you guys can do. I think it's also
kind of cool to kind of let everybody, watching as well as one another know what these other playbooks sound like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I got mine pulled up. I can start.
Yeah.
So, do you want just the moves or the whole shebang?
I mean, the character sheets are not exactly extensive, so do it with however you want to, however much you wish to divulge.
Sure. So my states, I put my so when you make your character, you put a +2 in one state, a +1 in two states, a 0 in two states, and a -1 in your last state.
And a state are the emotional stuff,
The
mad,
emotional
sad,
state,
etc. Okay.
So I have a 0 in mad, a +1 in peaceful, a +2 in sad, a -1 in joyful, a +1 in scared, and a 0 in powerful.
Oof. Okay.
My beliefs, those will come up during play. Don't worry about them.
Uh-huh.
As the dying, I have a section on my playbook called the gift. These are things, the benefits that my unique condition gives me. So the move that I took is called the grace. The disease that is destroying you graces you with an additional benefit before the end. Pick an additional option from the gift section. So I have 2 of these. The 2 I chose are: your organic tissue regrows at a rapid rate. You cannot succumb to death until the disease takes you. When you would die, roll plus symptoms. On a 10 or higher, it could be hours or days until you awake alone and confused and in a foreign place. On a 7 to 9, you'll be out for a few hours, but none the worse for wear. On a 6 or below, you awake to the comfort of a friend. And you become unnaturally strong. You deal +1 harm, and in addition can lift heavy objects such as cars, lampposts, etc.
Fuck.
My symptoms are that my body is rejecting my cybernetic implants and or my neurochip. The gear I chose was I was allowed to take 1 small and practical weapon. I have a kinetic handgun. It deals 2 harm, close, reload, loud are its tags.
So reload loud is like you can hear a.
So reload and loud are separate tags.
Oh.
So reload means like if you're firing it like often, you'll have to stop and reload.
Gotcha.
Loud means it's loud. Like when you fire it, people hear.
So you don't have like a hand silencer or...
No, I don't have a silenced pistol.
Okay.
My cybernetics, I have cybernetic eyes. The 3 tags on that is heads up display, multi-spectrum, and recording. So
okay.
And then cybernetic arm, I have that tagged storage. It says right arm has like basically a section right in the forearm where all of his like surgical and medical tools can just flip out into his hand, taking the place of a sort of assistant in the surgery.
Okay.
For every piece of cybernetics you take, you have to take negative tags. The one that was predefined that I took was scarred, and they also have make your own. The one I was suggesting before was that because of this falling out with the corporation that he got the cybernetics from, they no longer benefit from this sort of like augmented reality that can kind of smooth over some of the rougher parts of the world. So his enhancements are very obvious, very gruesome, very disconcerting. So instead of having like a cool visor that goes over his eyes, it is like a tube full of like blue goop with an eyeball floating around it that's jammed in his skull.
Okay.
And occasionally it just swivels forward. And like his arm looks more like, you know, a couple pieces of like rebar with hydraulic lines, like one full of like, you know, like blue like antifreeze and the other just full of his human blood.
Oh shit. Okay.
He is not like, he's not your slick, cool looking cyberpunk character. He is a decaying monster of a man.
We gotta get you, if you guys can, I'd love to have some character shots so that I can build that into the intro.
And then so the moves, I mentioned the grace, which gave me the additional gift, and as the dying trigger is a move that I have to take. After the gift from my disease manifests, I roll plus symptoms. On a 10 or higher, the MC, that's you, Steve, chooses one of the following, and my symptoms manifest themselves. So I either take 1 harm as the pain hits,
Okay.
or you choose 2 from the 7 to 9 list. The 7 to 9 list, if I roll a 7 to 9, you choose 1.
Yeah.
Either everything fades to black as I pass out, I lose control over blank, one of my symptoms manifests itself in a big way, or I lose track of blank.
Oh my god. Okay. All right.
And that's everything. That's Faustus mechanically.
That's all right. Wow. All right. Who's next?
I'll jump in right
Yeah,
there.
man. What do you got?
Yeah, so mine are kind of interestingly chosen just for the sake of storyline and things of that nature. Give me 1 second. I thought I had a PDF up to help me talk about that. There we go. Yep. So For the states and mad, I have a +1. In peaceful, I have a 0. In sad, I have a -1. In joyful, that's actually my biggest one. I have a +2 because of his daring nature and his creativity, which is part of that wheel of reasons why I chose that one. Scared is 0 and powerful is at a +1.
Okay.
As far as like his moves are concerned, so being that he's the architect, everything basically revolves around the veil, that augmented reality where he could jump into and manipulate. And with that, he has skills such as reconfiguration, where while I am in this, for the lack of better words, this cyberspace, let's call it, I can manipulate the entire digital environment around me. And depending on how well I roll, I either suffer no negative consequences or bad consequences occur. Same thing with there's a thing called construct where I can actually create a digital lobby, which is basically like walkie talkies between individuals, where I could we could be
Chat
visibly,
rooms.
we could be the
chat
room.
rooms,
We could
yeah.
physically be standing in front of somebody, and all of a sudden in their heads, like the Matrix, everybody who I want will be in a lobby that could be looked at as like this all white room with these 4 chairs, and we could be physically in the meat world standing in front of somebody, and then I could be talking to him like, listen, this guy is full of shit, I'm just letting you know. He's a fucking liar. You know what I mean? And the players in their heads are seeing that, but their meat eyes are still within the physical world.
It's message.
Yeah, it's dead ass message. Yep.
Yes.
There's a skill called Lady in Red, where when I'm personally, because most people when they're in this cyberspace, in this digital space, their avatar looks like them. I actually have the capabilities of fully manipulating myself as to how I wish to look when inside of there. There's one called There Is No Spoon, when I get to describe myself manipulating the digital environment in order to mitigate a danger to me. So in other words, the way that it works though is when I am manipulating things within this cyberspace, energy is constant and exists. So I can't make energy appear from where it's not. So I have to first have things, or there has to be already things within this digital space already created, such as like, because being that I can manipulate one thing into the other, I could say there's that table, I'm going to take the energy from that table vanishes, that energy now circulates into a bunch of zeros and ones and manipulates into a cat.
Dude.
And then the remaining energy poofs off, because you have to have a constant transference of energy that makes sense within the storyline. So I have to pull things from around me. If I don't have enough, I have to attempt to first manifest more energy, which then, obviously you as a storyteller could, bob and weave and make it harder or easy or whatever have you. But the point is, as I'm doing that, I have to transfer. I can't just say, and this happens. It has to be energy pulled from other things. So I could create a large space with a bunch of shit and then use that energy, but I have to play it smart as a player.
Dude.
Then there's the kick, which is essentially like I could boot you from the chat room, so to speak. So if you hacked into our shit, I'm like, about that, goodbye, and I can
fuck yes,
boot the person out. So basically, all of my things are about my cyber brain and being a baller inside cyberspace.
Dude.
And his big thing that I really love is the architect special. Is that when the architect shares a moment of intimacy with anyone, be it physical or emotional, I roll without adding that state. On if I succeed, all is well.
Yeah.
But if I fail, they're added to my subconscious as a named NPC. And there's certain moves that I have, like in my subconscious, where let's say I had an interaction with Kode. And for some reason, it was a very intimate thing. And it's a moment where you feel, hey, you know what? I want you to roll that special that you have. And I get a miss. I have to, out of character, above table, give my honest perception of how I feel Kode is. And then you as a storyteller can make Kode as an NPC appear in my mind during certain moments when I'm triggered by that emotion. going forwards.
Why would you give a sadist this kind of power?
That's it. So the more missed emotions that occur, I just keep creating, bottling up these NPCs of people in my head with my point of view on them, and then it's my point of view on them personified. So if I think Cody's the best guy, it's almost like a caricature best guy. Dude. But if I think he's the worst guy, it's almost a caricature worst guy. So it's how I view them, that so it almost works to my disadvantage. If I don't like somebody, it could be really, really bad. You know what I mean?
All right.
But yeah, so that is my whole bag as far as that is concerned. As far as my cybernetics are concerned, I am very similar in that he does have cybernetics that allow his multi-spectrum magnification and recording, but he also has an interface which allows him to do remote and multitask. So basically, like I could interface with different things, such as anything that I need to basically jump into to enter cyberspace or any of like the digital ads and so on and so forth. But being that I have those, I have negative tags, one being scarred, where I do possess cybernetics on me, but they are very visible in the sense of like line marks on my face and the cybernetics jutting out of me. But also the second negative tag that I have is addicted, where that's where I go to a lot of the nephews that are in the neighborhood because of the amounts of pain that I am in because of said cybernetics. I can go to some of these gangers and potentially get some illicits to try to ease the pains of the world.
Okay,
and
that's awesome.
That is my bag,
dude. That's fucking cool. That's rad.
I forgot one thing on my sheet.
What's up?
My special is the dying. Because all the playbooks have this thing for when they share a moment of intimacy with someone. So when sharing a moment of intimacy with someone, I generate one hold, and when my disease would trigger, I can instead spend that hold to keep the symptoms at bay by recalling the moment of intimacy.
Oh, so you can. Oh, that's so sweet.
I love that.
Oh, so I'm so sorry. It's so short-lived.
But did you pay for the added subscription?
Yeah. We're gonna have to cancel you. All right. Again, today was not about coming to this session with a character. So if you, Kevin or Erin, don't have anything, it's not a worry at all. If you do, love to hear what you came up with so far.
I'll go.
Yeah, what do you get?
It's not completely done because I didn't understand the sad, mad, joyful, peaceful mechanic portion of it until it was literally explained by Mike. But I still have to go through it and decide how I want to allocate the points. But
cool.
The owned has a couple of abilities. One specifically known as his potential, where he's able to, when he rolls 2d6, if he gets 10 at the beginning of any session, I gain that many humanity, either 2 or 1, just on top of my current humanity, and I can hold on to that for the session. And it allows me to do a couple of things in combat or in just daily activities, like inflict humanity harm to someone else just by spending it, and by like teaching them that whatever ways that they're using, if they aren't also a honed, why like their tech sucks, and it's basically I super harm their ego. I can also
so any of those cocky ass NPCs that I come up with,
if they got cyberware,
yep.
I basically flex on them, and they're like, "Oh, god damn it!" And I genuinely just cause them 2 to 3 harm.
That's awesome.
It allows me to move forward and exceptionally better to protect somebody from harm, to be like a protector.
Okay.
As well as, let me see, it says extraordinary feat of. Oh, I get to show off like extraordinary feats of physical aptitude, like speed, strength, or agility. At any point in the story by spending it. The owned, specifically Cody, has 2 forms of his martial art that he uses. One that is primarily defensive, and one that mixes jumping in to harm's way and using a weapon that allows him to do that. And the weapon I chose wasn't anything that was on here, but mixed with martial arts, it bumps it up a certain number of points in harm damage. And I chose industrial magnet yo-yos.
Oh, what?
So he has magnets. He has like clasps around these yo-yos, and when he releases them, he uses the centrifugal force of the yo-yo to power these heavy magnets. He has no cyberware to worry about, but everyone and everything does. So using those heavy loadout things allows him to use his cause harm as well as repel on certain metallic objects while he uses his other ability.
That's awesome.
Which is called parkour.
Parkour.
Depending on the role, I either add 3 or 2. I can either choose 3 or 2 of any of these features in combat, and that would be to escape an enemy, leave no trace, navigate to an advantageous spot in the scene, or avoid all harm.
Okay. Wow. Jesus. Okay. Fuck.
Real simple. He's
good, man.
He's a lot of fast meat. He's a courier like type, and he likes to hit people.
Okay, that's fair.
Defensive type.
That's fair. And we have to wrap it up for tonight. Erin, what do you got?
I got the Empath, so that's a little bit it's got its own currency system, so we can talk about that later. Based on taking other people's emotions away, which we can also talk about later, because that comes into consent and can I take your emotions away, Eric and Kevin and, well, Mike, but he's not here. Because I took the move absorb, meaning I'm going to take your emotions away and get an advantage off of it. I didn't want this character to be a support character, so she's a little bit rageful. Not too much. She's got +1 in mad, but she's got +2 in powerful. Her burden is rip it all down and help it burn. There's nothing here worth saving anyways. So she's one of the, like, we are at the point of revolution. There's no like compassion anymore. So that's kind of her rhetoric, which is why she was using that club as like a safe place to organize. There's a couple other moves we could talk about later that have to do with that. They all have to do with the emotion part of it, so I can't really like get into it without getting into the whole thing, so it's okay.
Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone else?
We've all forgotten our special thing based off of our playbook. I forgot. I have a Hone special.
Okay.
Where again, somebody that I've had a deep emotional connection with, either physical or emotional, I can give them a bonus on hold, which means that if they are taking any type of harm, I can spend what is this? I think it's a humanity, one of my humanities, and I can appear out of nowhere without explanation. Like suddenly I just got there.
Oh my god.
Jesus. Okay.
Surprise,
this is right. This is oh my god. Alrighty. Okay.
And that's all. That's all for me.
All right, Eric, do you have one?
What, the special?
Yeah, you went over it, didn't you?
Yeah. I did. That was the one that it says shares a moment of intimacy with someone, be it physical or emotional, roll without adding, on a hit as well, on a miss. They're added to my subconscious, and as far as that is concerned, the subconscious, what it says is when you enter any digital environment, you may frame the scene, choosing 3 things that will bleed over into the digital environment from your mind.
Yep.
And then it's either a former friend, which is going to be a named NPC, a jilted lover who knew you better than most, named NPC, a family member as you remember them, which is another named NPC, the manifestation of your fear, a place where you once lived, your true self, your represented fantasies, the catacombs of your deepest memories, or limbo.
Okay. Wow. Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So we
So
got some
like
good
the
stuff.
architect is just all about the digital space and then try to overlap the digital space into real reality, which
Yeah,
is where
dude.
I went with the augmented reality job.
Man, this is gonna be dope. Okay, it looks like the chat's excited. It sounds like you guys are excited. I'm terrified. We'll find out. But I'm going to leave you with one last thing here that I hope will help set the oppressive nature of Killian City.
Oh God.
Welcome
I can
to
see
the
my
pit.
house from here.
What the shit?
Oh,
This-
there's the pit.
Ooh, there
This
it is.
is the pit.
I see my house from there.
Yeah, right there.
I can see my house from here.
So this thing is rude.
Wow.
Yeah, it's there are tenements all in here and sunlight does hit down below, but really only on high noon. But the level of smog and the amount of like just decrepit. It's just nasty.
That's madness.
So that's the pit. We're gonna find out what else happens next week. I have a story to get you guys going, but it's going to be based upon character need and the urgency of need and survival in the city. So we're going to start off with a nice little peril and a little bit of action just to get our blood going. And the main reason for that is because usually in those kinds of situations, we get to learn a little bit more about the rules. So it is done with the notion for us to learn rather than for us to already be experts. No such thing. We all suck right now, except for Mike, who's just fucking awesome about this kind of stuff. So anyway, guys, you've been amazing. Players, Jesus. I am so screwed. And I am so going to love this. I'm going to I get to hang back and watch. We're going to be playing a really light rule system. I'm really excited for it. We'll see you next week. All right.
Everybody.
I'm excited. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.